Nate, by the way.
All right.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna wait for it to populate that the stream element says we are live, and then thumbs up if you're ready to actually start the show.
Blah 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 blah.
I guess so.
Okay.
Oh, I was
And
gonna
then
check something.
Boop, 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 boop. That's all good. That's all good. And then this is just gonna record everyone, so I don't worry about
Riveting material we have.
Mm-hmm. Great for the audience.
Yes,
This is great for the patrons.
When we are all ready, actually, I don't usually. Hey, Cleva. Hey, Star Fox. I don't usually include the opening unless we just go crazy. Oh my gosh, Paul! Unless we just go crazy funny.
Dun dun.
I don't usually include it in the edit mode. I will.
I should warn you, my Power Trip co-host will be in the chat.
Oh, that's
okay.
scary.
That's fine.
How do I take it off?
Can you Dragon Dagger in the chat?
I don't know. How would you do that?
No, I told him he had to be on his best behavior.
Yeah, be on your best behavior.
Just from what I've heard, that still doesn't bode well. But anyway,
well, potentially. But he also warned me that any hot takes about this movie may enrage him. So
slow and boring.
That's great.
Any hot takes about this movie might enrage a couple of people.
It's true. All right, then I think let's go ahead and get started. Oh, who's the hood-looking couple in the cute room? Hello, hood. Oh, good. Good.
Yeah,
good.
We in the hood.
What are we in the hood? We're in the hood.
Thank you,
I don't know that Littleton, Colorado counts as the hood.
Probably not so much. I'm gonna get a swig of.
It might
water,
be the neighborhood,
and then we're gonna.
Yeah,
start
well, there you go. Well, that's what hood is.
Drew, I will count 5, 4, 3, and then 2, 1. Silently point to you, and you go. Okay.
Okay, give me just a second.
Mm-hmm.
Wait for it.
You wait for it.
Trying to make it where I don't look like I'm in shadow on screen.
It's not a tumor.
I didn't fix much, but it'll work.
See if the calendar works.
It does work.
Yes, it does.
All right, here we go, guys. We're going down there. I wouldn't.
I was gonna say
Down
Oh,
where?
yeah, probably go down. It's a Spaceballs line.
meh, meh.
Down under?
No, you call this a knife? This is a knife. All right.
Whatever you say,
Five.
Matt Roy.
Everyone have their pain meds because it's morphine time.
Oh no!
But
Oh, I have that too.
here we go. 5, 4, 3.
It's Morphin time.
Oh, the things that I have missed! The Black Plague! The Spanish Inquisition! The Brady Bunch reunion! Not to mention this episode of the Retro Rewind podcast.
Reflux capacitors, fluxing, crew to stations. Scanning for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie 1995. Prepare to rewind in 3, 2, 1.
Wow, Alice sounds different there.
Welcome, rewinders and new listeners, to the Retro Rewind podcast, where we take a fresh look at movies and games that are 15. Dang it!
Oh, don't worry. It's only one of many.
That's one.
And then there was one.
Who wants to start a betting pool on how many he gets?
How do I usually say this? I don't say
every
15
week.
plus years ago.
15 or
This
more.
happens
15
every
or more
week.
years ago. Okay. All right. Here we go. Again.
Everyone catch the last Edna mode that was left in there?
Yeah, Paul. I know.
That was last episode. Check it out.
I'm still behind on episodes, Paul. So
Ghostbusters 2. Check it out when you get it.
Okay, you don't have to keep mentioning which one it is. Here we go.
All right, sorry.
Welcome, rewinders and new listeners, to the Retro Rewind podcast, where we take a fresh look at movies and games that are 15 or more years that are. What the junk? Take a fresh look at movies and games that are from 15 or more years ago.
All right, Francisco, welcome to the Retro Rewind podcast. I know this is your first time, but you can do it.
I need to say the oath. Welcome, rewinders and new listeners. Okay, don't. Welcome, rewinders and new listeners, to the Retro Rewind podcast, where we take a fresh look at movies and games that are 15 years.
From 15 or
From
more years
15
ago.
I
or
swear
more
I say it a
years
different way,
ago.
though,
Yeah,
than
for,
that.
for that you don't say from that are 15
Yeah.
years or older.
That are 15 year.
Okay, let's go check the tape.
Fresh look at
Yeah.
movies and games that are
15 years
or
old.
older.
15 years or older. Movies and games that are 15 years or older. Okay, yeah, that sounds right.
on with it. Yes, get on with it.
No, I don't know why this tripped me up all of a sudden.
You're in
It's
a
fine.
different atmosphere.
It's like you edited it.
I'm also, I was just behind the scenes. I got in what time last night?
It was
3:20 in the morning. So
That's not last night, that's this morning.
Yeah, well, exactly. Welcome, rewinders and new listeners, to the Retro Rewind podcast, where we take a fresh look at movies and games that are 15 or more years ago.
That sounded fine to me.
That was so close.
That are from 15. No,
I
movies
mean,
and games
it
that
can be
are.
different
Time out,
this time.
folks, while we try to figure out.
Yeah, you know what? I am just gonna listen to what I say before, because I
There you
am
go.
tired of getting it
I was
wrong.
gonna say, consult
Well-
the Book of Armaments.
You have gone too far. You have married Fester. You have destroyed his spirit.
Oh, thank you.
By
Okay, this is
taking
good.
him from us.
That's
All
my
that
voice.
I could
Yeah.
forgive. But Debbie, pastels? Maybe get some swatches from this episode of the Retro Rewind podcast.
All right, adding family values.
Hey,
This is retro rewind inception right here.
right?
Yeah,
1993.
Listen, Francisco.
Rewind in 3.
it's a rerun.
You thought that you came for a new recording of Retro Rewind tonight? We're just making you listen to last week's episode.
Retro Rewind podcast, where we take a fresh look at movies and games from 15 or more years ago.
Okay, that is it. From 15 or more.
Years
Or
ago.
more.
Yeah.
15 or more years ago.
I have 15 plus in this, and that's what's throwing me. Okay.
Blah, blah, blah.
All right, here we go. Sorry to shush you, Nathan. I just didn't want to.
No, I get it. I'm totally trolling right now.
All right, here we go.
Take 3.
Take or 500. Welcome, rewinders and new listeners, to the Retro Rewind podcast, where we take a fresh look at movies and games that are 15 or more years ago.
I am your captain.
That are from? Am I just not here saying from?
Do I need to replay?
Look at movies and games from 15 or more years. Okay, I don't know why I keep saying that.
I don't know.
Oh, golly sakes. Okay, if I don't get it this time, we're just going to continue, and I'll record it another time.
No.
This is ridiculous.
You're welcome, patrons.
Oh my.
Welcome, rewinders and new listeners, to the Retro Rewind podcast, where we take a fresh look at movies and games from 15 or more years ago. I am your captain of the pod, Red Ranger Francisco Ruiz, and I am joined by your XO and mine, Paul the Black Ranger Powers.
Welcome to my nightmare.
Paul J. Power Rangers?
Oh my goodness. Also, for this discussion of the film Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie, we welcome back aboard host of the Monster Island Film Vault podcast and Blue Ranger, Nathan Marchand. Hey, Nathan.
You also forgot the Power Trip and Henshin then. I'm kind of representing all of my shows today.
My bad. But I want to let you know that you can represent a new rank because this is your third time on the podcast.
Woo-hoo!
So you are promoted to be an official part and you have earned the rank of shipman. Do you have any idea what department you would like to serve in?
Research? Do you have a research department?
We need one.
We have historical archives. We have
I'll take it.
tactics.
That's it.
Okay,
The
all right.
rest of the historical department's on here already, so
Yeah.
It's a good club.
We're flush with history here. But awesome. Welcome back, Nathan. Glad to have you back. And in addition to Nathan, we have back aboard Administrative Officer and Pink Ranger, Ashley Ruiz.
Hi.
And she also are the person who happened to pick this movie for us to review.
I was. I don't know if I should say woohoo or if I should apologize. I guess
Yeah.
you'll just have to stay tuned.
Well, you can send her hate mail to Ashley. Anyway, continuing our roll call, we also are glad to have back Historian Officer and Yellow Ranger, Celeste Mora.
Hello.
Hi, Celeste. And finally, we have back serving with Celeste in the ship's archives, chief historian and White Ranger, because there's no Green Ranger in this movie, Drew Dodgen.
He used to be the Green Ranger.
But that's what
I
he was
realized
bad.
that.
Yes.
Well, on the show.
On the
I don't know
show,
about
yeah,
this movie
admittedly-
universe.
Admittedly, canonicity here is a little awkward. So
Yeah.
But now that you have a quick flyby of who we are, Paul, can you give us a quick overview of the production specs for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie?
Sure. The Brady Bunch 35th anniversary reunion special.
What the jump?
Still Brady after all these years was released September 29th in 2004. It's rated G and it was on TV Land.
I watched that.
That's great, Paul. But can you talk about Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie from 1995?
What? I watched the wrong one again. Hold on. Let me go back.
Like me forgetting something I liked.
All the time.
Oh. Mighty Morphin, and there's no G, it's not morphing, and there's no apostrophe, it's just Morphin. So learn how to spell, kids. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie. Is that the right one?
Yes, that is the right one. Thank you.
Yes, you did not talk about 2017.
I was gonna say.
Wasn't that just called Power Rangers?
Yes.
It was Saban's Power Rangers.
Yes.
Oh my.
We don't talk about Turbo.
Is that the
All right, going back to
We don't-
June 30th, 1995, when this movie was released. It runs an hour and
the day after my
35 minutes, and it's rated PG. It was directed by Brian Singer. What?
Whoa, really?
No,
No.
Brian Spicer.
Ah, I could have gotten him on the phone. Darn
Nah,
it.
sorry, not this time, Brian.
So far.
It was written by John Camps and Arnie Olson, or Arn Olson. I don't know how to say your name, Arnie. And with lead stars being Paul Freeman, Jason David Frank, and Amy Jo Johnson. The music was composed by Graham Rebel. Sorry, Graham, I don't know how to say your name either. But maybe. Are you ready for the box office trivia?
Last 2 times I've been here, it was over Japanese films. You were fumbling those. These are perfectly American. What's going on?
No,
Well,
Graeme. How do you say that?
Graham
Graham.
or
Nobody's
Graham.
perfect. So.
Graham.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, I am ready. Ashley, Drew, Celeste, Nathan, are you guys ready to guess box office?
Yipper.
Yes.
Sure.
Awesome. And anyone here live, you're welcome to join in as well. Go for it, Paul.
Okay, Power Rangers, let's do it!
All right. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie, was made for about $15 million and earned around $37 million in the box office. Given this fact, how high in the box office do you think it ranks among the movies released theatrically in 1995? And since there are 6 Rangers here, we'll go with the top 60.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Interesting.
Throwing things for a loop.
Let's start with Ashley.
36.
36.
A lot of big movies came out in 95. Another
Yes.
movie actually came out the same month of the same year, and it was Clueless, and that probably did much, much better than this movie.
What?
If.
You know what else came out that the same month? Batman Forever.
No.
Don't.
And if we're talking same day, that would have been Apollo 13.
Oh,
If we're talking same minutes, I have no idea. So let's.
And the Judge Dredd.
I am the law. Nathan.
That is some legitimately tough competition there.
Yeah. Stiff competition.
Nathan, what's your guess?
46.
46. Celeste.
42.
42, of course.
Someone
Drew?
has to.
Drew.
Snipe
45.
Babos.
45.
Oh, Price is Right.
5. I'm just gonna shoot for the moon here and say 10, guys.
Nice.
Thoroughly
Ooh.
disappointed.
Actual retail price is
Price is right.
Let's
Price is
check
right.
with the chat.
Princess Bride has told me to get used to disappointment. So Geek Devotion guessed 25. Star Fox guessed 30. Babo also 42. Jacob
my
guessed
co-host?
36. Adrian and Seth guessed 22. And then I don't know what your co-host
Power Trip
guessed.
Pod.
he said 52.
Yeah.
Did he say 52? Okay, I
He
missed
did.
it.
Number 1 in his heart, he says.
My bad. Sorry, I missed it. Power Trip Pod. All right, Paul, where did it end up?
Michael. Just call him Michael.
Well, according to the-numbers.com, it came in at 51. So
51?
Michael.
Oh, good job, Michael.
Good job.
I give
Well-
you too much credit.
It'll be interesting to see if those not predict. Dang it!
See if those Edna modes keep coming.
Mode.
Edna mode. Let's
And
do
What's
it.
next here?
I want to say
Knock
this is
it!
like number 3, 4.
Yeah, this is 3 because that first one counted mainly as 1. All right.
Did it?
Yes, end of Edna mode. Here we go.
Technically.
Thank you for those factoids, Paul, and let's see if any of them factor into our memory mind meld or subsequent roundtable discussion, which we will get into once Alice is located, our target film. Hold on. Paul, can you
Alice
paste
hasn't been working right. What?
Can you paste in the memory mind meld into the chat? Because I'm going off a printed version and I printed it off before you put it in.
Womp womp.
What makes this super fun is I think what you said 3 of us had seen this movie going in and 3 didn't. So it was like half and
exactly.
So only half of us have memories of this movie.
You know, I have tons of memories. Thank you.
Oh, it doesn't. It won't fit in there. I'll put it in Discord.
That should be fine.
All right, hold on.
The group one, not just me, because I don't have my Discord. So this is, I'm seeing off of Ashley. So put in the one for this episode. Thank you. Back to the Future 3. All right.
It's in there.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay, so I'm going to play the round table. Then we'll do that. Then we'll do that. Okay, here we go. End of Edna mode.
Again.
Alert.
Wrong
Alert.
one. You're about.
Target.
Sorry.
Spoilers incoming. Establishing analysis vector.
For the first time, the Power Rangers are powerless. And the only way they can fight back is to discover the power of the ninja.
Ninjetti! 8-ball, corner pocket. Let's do it! No, Ninja Sword! I'm going in! Rockets away!
Power Rangers, the movie, rated PG. Friday at theaters only.
Friday at theaters only, you say? I don't know about. Don't that. We're not looking at that. What that was.
Today's Friday. Does that mean it's going to be in theaters today?
I think so.
Ooh,
so.
It would be fun to see this in theaters.
Would it?
I would enjoy it.
And maybe some of us have memory of seeing it in theaters. But let's talk about more specifically what our memory mind meld synopsis for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie is. Opening credits kick off with a literal bang as the movie title explodes, setting the tone for ridiculousness ahead as the Stepford teenagers jump out of a plane. Meanwhile, construction workers accidentally uncover a stone egg. Belloc from Indiana Jones is now purple and destroys the command center. Power Rangers lose their powers, so I guess they're just Rangers. The non-powered colored misfits are on a mysterious planet that somehow resembles Australia, on a mission to gain new powers with the help of Xena, Warrior Princess knockoff, who turns Adam into a frog. Powered again, the Rangers hop into their Transformers to be a small little purple ooze guy, only winning by a cheap kick to the nads.
Australia? Well, gee, Captain Roy, how's it going?
I just realized Black Adam is opening today, and we have a Ranger who wears a black costume who is named Adam.
He's a Black Adam too.
Indeed.
Yeah, he's a Black Adam too.
And unfortunately, Drew, my name's Francisco, so I think that along with other elements of this film are Decepted.
But it was Xena Warrior Princess knockoff.
It was a knockoff, but that doesn't. You know what? Based on those memories,
do not besmirch Dulcia. She is a goddess.
As flawed as our memories were, what rating did they lead you to predict for My Morphin Power Rangers the movie before you rewatched it? Classic, nostalgic, or tragic? Going down the lane again here. Ashley, what was your prediction for this film?
Nostalgic.
But you voted on this. Wouldn't it be classic? Or you nominated this?
No, I nominated it, but I am so nostalgic over this movie. I remember going to see it in theaters in the summer of 1995 when I was 8. I went with my brother and my mother, and we had the toys from the movie. We were diehard Power Rangers fans, and we were just so excited. And it's always held a interesting place in my heart.
Okay. A nostalgic place. Nathan, how about you?
Nostalgic.
Nostalgic as well. Celeste?
I'm gonna say that I was thinking it was gonna be nostalgic because I know that Dallas and his sister have a lot of
Nostalgia
love
it.
for the movie.
Okay, nice. Drew, but you yourself have not seen it, right?
No,
Celeste?
I had not.
Okay.
All right.
Really?
Drew, how about you?
I assumed it was going to be nostalgic.
Nostalgic as well. Wow. Okay. Paul, and you're also someone who hasn't seen this movie along with me.
No,
yet,
I
right?
saw it. I saw it in the theaters, and I had mixed
my
feelings
bad. Okay.
when I saw it in the theaters. But I haven't seen it in a while, so I predicted nostalgic.
Nostalgic.
Interesting.
I
was 8 when this movie came out.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't
I
see
was
this in
10.
theaters. I had stopped, I think, being interested in the Power Rangers. Now, I will say, actually, that might get to a spoiler. Or
So
never
don't
mind.
say.
That gets later in the episode. I'll just say I predicted
spoilers.
tragic.
Of course.
So
you
I'm
did.
the lone gunman here that predicted tragic. But it'll be interesting to see
You're
if
just
those
being a negative Nancy.
predictions
As
pan
usual.
out. You know what? For all I know, you guys all rated nostalgia, tragic in the end. So don't negative Nancy me. But it'll be interesting to see if those predictions
M's
came true.
fighting Woids.
But first, let's get into the things we liked about My Morphin Power Rangers, the movie. Let's spin a power.
Best 3.
And let's begin. I'm going to go backwards and say, let's start with Paul. What's something you had seen this movie a long time ago?
Yeah.
What's something that you still like today?
I was surprising. I found my. Sorry, I
Wow.
get tongue-tied because I was surprised how well I liked the fight scenes. It was
really?
reminiscent of the Ninja Turtle movies. It had some fun moves in it. Some were over the top and kiddie, but others were like, "Oh, that's cool." It had a fun vibe to it, so I enjoyed that.
Very cool. Would you say that, just as a comparison, and I don't know when the last time you saw Three Ninjas was, but would you say this had better or worse fight than Three Ninjas?
The last time I saw Three Ninjas that I remember was never.
Fine. How about versus Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, 1990?
Well, some of the moves, I think I was impressed because, wow, they actually could move a lot better. I guess without those turtle costumes prohibiting that. So some ways it was better. In other ways, it wasn't as good because of the kitty-like sound effects through it.
Okay, I could see
The
that.
whooshing and things
Oh,
like
yes.
that.
Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh.
Like as soon as
I
they
didn't
move a
mind the
hand,
whoosh as
it's
much as the ding dong dong boing.
Oh, sure.
Right.
Well, that sort of gets into something I liked about the movie, Paul, and I feel like they really captured the campiness from the show. I did grow up watching the first season of the show and really enjoyed it for what it was. And I thought, and seeing things like Rhea Repulsa and her entourage return, for the most part, it wasn't perfect, but yes, we're going to conquer Earth. I thought that was a nice nod, and it was something that would draw in the fans of the show. It wasn't like we're going to do this completely different thing, so you don't know what Power Rangers even looks like anymore. I liked that element of it.
Yeah.
Let's go to Drew next. What's something you like, Drew?
I liked all of the practical effects. I'm going to
Yes.
specify
Yeah.
practical effects.
I was amazed by those dinosaur bones.
Yeah.
Those
That
were
was so
freaking
good.
amazing.
The dinosaur bones are amazing, and
Mhm.
well, we'll get to that later, I'm sure. But that part has definitely aged better. Drew, I would also include with those effects the
gatekeepers.
costumes. I really like those.
Well, all the costumes, the gatekeepers, that fight.
Who are the
and
gatekeepers?
those are the four stone
rock
guys. at the
monster?
Yeah,
gate.
the 4 stone rock
That's
monster
right.
guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And the fights against the Oozmen and even the ones with
The
the against the Tengu.
The
Them
Tengu.
also.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
you got
all
to be
look-
specific.
Tengu,
'cause
not
Tengas are different
Tengas.
birds.
Yeah.
Tengas are
Tengas.
different birds.
Yeah.
Are there Tangas in this film also?
No,
or
but there are in
something?
the show.
Oh, okay.
It's the
But
same
there's
costume.
Different
Well-
doing the tango.
It's
Almost the same costumes.
Okay. So there were sort of the visual presentation and the creatures and things like that. You were like, Drew,
The whole
was that?
all the suits and everything, along with all the practical effects.
Okay.
I thought that it really made it feel like it was. It gave a little bit. It felt like it was from the show, but it was like more of it.
Okay.
And amped up to 10, if
All
not
right.
11.
So I want to have more of your likes. So let's go to Nathan next.
The first one that I would like to mention would be the remixed theme song in this one.
Yeah.
It's the
Did
theme
they
from the
remix?
show, but it's done like
This?
it's but it's done
It's
yeah,
played
but
by
it's done
different musicians.
yeah, it's done with
Oh.
an orchestra. I think they're called like the Power Ranger
It's
Orchestra. or
credited as
something
the
like that.
Power Rangers Orchestra.
Yeah, the Power Rangers Orchestra, but it took something that was done by Ron Wasserman, who I got to interview on the the Power Trip, which was great. And it took that and it made it feel bigger and even more cinematic. And it was so dang good they recycled it again for about 5 seconds in the 2017 movie. So that should tell you. Yeah, they originally had the composer for the 2017 movie. He had his own rendition of that cue in his soundtrack, but then they decided, let's see what happens if we throw the 1995 movie theme in there, and it worked so well they kept it.
Well,
Okay.
And my co-host Michael didn't realize it was in there when we covered this movie on the Power Trip back in spring. I'm not letting him live it down.
Well, and I guess I won't live it down either because I have no recollection of the original theme being in this in any sort of orchestral version. So that went totally by me.
They play it during the morphing sequence.
Yeah, it's
in this
like
movie.
throughout the movie.
And if you have the Blu-ray, that's what they show that as the menu.
Indeed.
So let's why don't you give me something you liked so I can stop being embarrassed at my misses.
Okay, so hang on. I have my list, and then I went away from my list. Where is my list? Okay, so I really liked the pun that they made with Ivan's name. I thought
They made
that was
a pun of it?
hysterical. Ivan Ooze. I have an ooze.
That's a pun?
Ivan News?
I have an ooze.
Ivan,
And
yes.
he was
Oh.
the ooze. Am I the only one that caught that? Dallas was
I still
surprised
don't get
too.
it. I have an ooze, or I
never
have
thought
an
of
ooze?
it.
I've an ooze.
I have an ooze.
Right.
If you were to say I have an ooze quickly, you'd say I have an ooze.
Okay.
You have an ooze, like what?
ooze is
You have
plural.
like a wound bleeding or something? What do you
Yes,
mean
it's
you have an ooze?
oozing.
He was peddling ooze to the kids.
Yes, he
so
was.
Oh,
I
Ivan's
Okay.
ooze.
Ivan's ooze.
Okay.
I'm the only one that caught it.
It's okay, Paul. I missed the music. You missed this obvious pun that all of us got, especially Celeste. So,
All
I
right.
just thought it was witty.
yeah, no, totally,
It
Celeste.
is for a child's entity. Absolutely.
Yeah. What was there anything that you liked, Ashley, about the humor, or was it something else that got your
Well,
onto
I
your
definitely enjoyed the humor. I enjoyed the stunts and action sequences. I loved the practical effects. But in all honesty, I just loved how this movie it perfectly captured the nostalgia of the 90s between
Oh my
the craziness of the skydiving
Yes.
and the outfits that they
Yes.
wore. And
The
there was a scene
rollerblading?
with rollerblading and even the music throughout the movie. It just, you really
Oh my
felt
gosh,
like
this-
you were in the 90s when you're
Uh-huh.
watching
The-
this.
the-
And
the
thinking back
soundtrack.
to like, I was 8 when this movie comes out, and I'm like, I feel exactly as I did when I was in theaters. I'm like, this is so awesome.
Aw.
And now it's even more reminiscent of the 90s because it really is a sign of the times.
Yeah.
It really captures the time in which it came out. So, yeah.
You had mentioned Clueless before. I'm just curious. Do you feel like this or Clueless captures 90s better?
They both do it in different ways.
Yeah.
Because both of those movies came out in July of 1995. They actually came out a week apart from one another.
Mhm.
And I saw them both when I was 8 in theaters.
Ah.
I like them for different reasons, and I'm nostalgic about both. But I feel like they capture the 90s in different ways.
Okay.
The similarity between them is their music, especially, is a reflection of the 90s.
Yeah. Both
Very,
is
very
good.
cool. Oh my gosh, Paul. This is Road to El Dorado. But I would like to hear the road to. Let's go to the road to Drew's Classic Maker. What did you love most about? Because we're getting into Classic Makers now. Because there's so many panelists. We're just doing one like Classic Maker. What's your Classic Maker, Drew, for this movie?
Paul Freeman's performance as Ivan Ooze.
Yes,
that
we have
guy
the same
is
one.
just just chewing the scenery in every scene he's in, and he's like 9/10 of the reason you should watch this film.
Yes, this is at a time where I feel like within about a 1 year span of time, we had several movies that come out where the main reason you watch is the over-the-top villains that just chew the scenery when the rest of the movie may not work as well. We had this, we had Mortal Kombat, we had Street Fighter. I love some of the things I love most about those movies are the bad guys because they are amazing.
Absolutely. Way to steal my classic maker, Drew.
My apologies.
It's okay.
That man.
Blame Francisco. He let me go first.
And that man, he's a Shakespearean actor, and he is selling every single. He knows he's in something really goofy and cheesy,
and
but it doesn't matter.
He's playing it as
like
serious
any role.
as anyone else is. So
He absolutely is.
Yeah, I mean, like, and the line about the Brady Bunch reunion, he ad-libbed that on set.
I know.
That
We
was
watched behind the scenes on YouTube after we watched the movie, and he got to ad-lib and he got to just make a lot of choices, just actor choices, and it was the director's first movie, so he let Paul Freeman make all of these calls and choices, and I feel like it turned out perfectly because he has such a good performance and he is really fun to watch. And there are long pauses in the movie where he's not in them.
Yeah.
And it's kind of drags a little bit, but every time he's on screen, you can't help but look at this magnificent purple villain because he is over the top. He's got great dialogue. Yeah. He's witty. He's funny. And oh my goodness.
And he was Bellic in Indiana Jones. So you can't
exactly. And that's how I was pitching it. When I would talk about this movie, I'd be like, hey, Francisco, did you know that the main villain of this, he was Bellic in Raiders of the Lost Ark? And when he finally saw him, he's like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
and I have to say, I love the fact that he can stand there with Rita and Zed and like go toe to toe with them.
He steals their thunder.
Totally.
He totally sidelines all the rest of the villains.
Yes, he did.
And a fun story. Paul Freeman actually injured himself on set, and they had to rush him to the hospital.
Yes, they did, and he was in the costume.
That was in the behind the scenes that we watched. Makeup and everything.
That had to have been an experience. Who knows what happened? I don't remember the exact, but yeah, they did take him to the hospital in his
I think they said he twisted his ankle in the large high heel boots they had to make him wear.
Right, to make him look taller than everyone else.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And it was a really bad twist. So.
I will.
Did we see him next fall?
Oh my gosh!
Bye.
I will say he is. I thought he was the best actor in the whole movie. He was very believable in his delivery, more so than a lot. I mean, not that other people were bad. It's just that he brought this level up.
He's a different caliber of actor compared to the people who came from TV.
Okay.
Because they were 20-something, maybe late 20 actors, and they had largely done TV. Yeah, early 30s. It's hard to know, but they were from TV. And he is this classically trained Shakespearean actor. He's been honing his craft for decades, and
I've been on stage.
Yeah, they don't hold a torch to him. No. He is on a whole other level compared to
favorite Ivan Ooze line. Go.
I've already said mine because it's what we started the podcast with.
Well, yeah,
that is one of the best ones.
Let's see, the one where at the very end he comes out of the wire and says, "I'm back."
I'm also fond of "Where's my autograph book?"
Let's see.
I'll say I also liked pretty fancy schmancy. I guess if you invest your money for 60,000 years, you can buy yourself something pretty nice.
Oh my gosh!
I mean, that's just good business.
Yeah.
So Ashley, you said that was your classic maker as well. Okay.
Paul Freeman as Ivan Ooze, his performance just brought this movie to the next level. You couldn't look away, and he was so entertaining. As much as I loved the Power Rangers as a kid, it was one of the first times I was like enchanted by a villain. And I'm like, should I be, he's the bad guy. I shouldn't like him. But he was just a very likable bad guy. He was fun to watch and he had the best dialogue. I found myself laughing at him more than the things the Rangers said, because all too often they were just really bad puns.
So you would take his
Yeah.
free ooze and give it to your parents?
Oh no!
What was it? Give it to your parents. Give it to
Give it
your
to your
friends. With
friends.
Ivan's ooze, fun never
Oh
ends.
yeah.
Am I
If
the
your
only one
parents-
who got
if your parents
flashbacks to
take it from
Batman
you, just steal
'89
their
when he
pieces.
did that?
I've never seen Batman '89, but I imagine I would.
You poor deprived child.
I could kind of see that, like hubba hubba hubba, money money money. Where's the Batman?
I got
Something like that,
flashbacks to Arnold as Mr. Freeze with the corny lines.
Oh, everybody chill.
Nice to meet you.
Wow. Well, Paul, what would you say was the least corny thing? In fact, it was your classic maker for this film.
Well, I like me some action, and the beginning scenes. This movie starts off with the skydiving, and then there it goes into the rollerblading, and I thought those scenes were so well done. It's like, okay, let's get into this, and bam, here we go. And I just thought it was great. So that was the best part of the whole movie, was the beginning for me.
And you're an action sports nut. You love or extreme sports nut. You love surfing, skateboarding.
Yeah, I'm gone every weekend. I make an exception here to record this episode for you.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
He did field research on skydiving over the weekend.
It's amazing.
We
Thank you,
appreciate your sacrifice, Paul. J.
Exactly. Quite the commitment Paul makes for this show.
You're welcome.
Celeste, what thing did you love most about this film?
So while I did love how well Ivan Ooze acted, my classic maker is his makeup. From a technical level, like how they did his makeup in such a drastic comparison to some other things, but we will get into that later, I'm sure. But it was just so well done. Like every time he was on the screen, he commanded attention from his acting, but at the same time, he just looked cool. So like he made you want to look at him by how he was acting, but then also by the makeup. It was just really well done. Like you couldn't even see the latex work for the things.
Took an average of 4 hours to get him into that.
I thought it was 8 hours.
No, it was
8
4.
hours the first time when they were doing it the first time. Then after they got it practiced, it was 4 hours.
So for him, it was the slow Morphin time.
No, oh my gosh.
Paul, you could say for him it was very slow and boring.
Yes.
As someone who has done full face makeup, I would believe it took 4 hours.
Yeah.
But the devil's in the details. It just turned out so well.
It did. It was gorgeous.
I can totally speak for experience. It takes me a good 10 hours every morning to look like this. So
I believe
Go
yeah.
back.
Well done.
What are you talking about?
Try
So
again.
that explains all the modes. I got it now.
So you're saying you take more time getting ready than I do.
Yeah, that's it. That's about right. Nathan, why don't you get us ready to hear your classic maker for this film?
I already told you it's Ivan Ooze.
Oh, it's Ivan Ooze as well? Okay.
It's Ivan Ooze. I love Ivan Ooze. Ivan Ooze is the best part of this movie.
All right. Well, I'm going to have you expand on this. Is there any villain, like an over the top, chewing the scenery villain that you like better than Ivan Ooze?
All of them.
Raul Julia's M. Bison in Street Fighter.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
I
Okay.
can see that. I can see that.
If you ever cover Street Fighter, call me.
Okay. No, you call us. That's how this works.
Oh.
But okay, awesome. Well, guys, that just leaves me, and I think one of you, it might have been Drew, stole my classic maker right out the gate, and that's all the creatures in this are just so cool. Like, the
practical ones,
Tengus, all the practical effect creatures in this are fantastic. I thought the flying guys were cool.
How about that
bone,
pig henchman?
The pig henchman?
Pig.
I thought that was cool too. And though I would prefer the
Mordant.
other guys from the show,
Mordant, yeah.
I thought he was a fun addition and done well. No, we'll
He looked
find
like a giant hand puppet to me.
fine, Paul, but I'm glad that he was practically done. As opposed to other elements.
They made that puppet out of Canadian bacon, I'm sure.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Well,
I make no apologies, Chris Cook.
Yes, we're done with all of the likes. Time to get to our dislike. Sorry, guys. There's one more thing I like to have to get it out. I know
knew
it's
it.
ridiculous. I can't.
Once again.
I just need to keep track. I need to make that should be my New Year's resolution. I make a commitment to track my likes so this doesn't happen again. But the thing I forgot
Commitment's
is
an awfully big word. You sure about that?
Geek Devotions. Geek Devotions is a collaboration of devoted geeks that are devoted to letting people know that they are loved. They produce a weekly geek culture infused devotional, their podcast Com Talk, and written articles, all designed to encourage and challenge people in the geek community, bridging the gap between their faith and their geekdoms. Find all their content at geekdevotions.com.
That's great, Francisco, and I'm so glad that we have Celeste here to help us review from Geek Devotions. But
exactly,
what does Geek Devotions have to do with the like about the Power Rangers, the movie?
Well, it's one of Dallas's favorites.
Yeah, it's one of Dallas's favorites. It's a geeky movie. Lots of people have nostalgia for it. It's like it's clear as day, Paul, why that would be another like.
There are devoted fans, and
yeah.
I think Drew said earlier, like before we even started, that he actually has things that he could make devotions with from this movie. So there you go. There's all your ties.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Ashley.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I'll try to remember that for my likes in the future.
All right, okay, Paul. I'm getting some subterfuge. No, that's not the word.
Another big word that I wouldn't mess with.
Incorrectly used.
To quote one of your favorite movies, Francisco, you keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
That's actually Paul's favorite movie.
Oh, never mind.
Subtext is the word I was going for.
Oh, I assumed you meant mutiny.
You know what, guys? Let's get to trivia. How about that, Paul? Would you be and everyone else be okay with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right, good. Jeez. Did you all realize that Dulcia's backstory was scripted but cut from the final film? In the script, Dulcia was the sole survivor of an alien race named the Nathadians, and it was her race that created the power of the Ninjetti stored in the Ninjetti temple. Dulcia also explained she was a member of the Order of the Meladan, a group of young warriors that defeated and imprisoned Ivan Ooze on Earth, and that her friend Zordon was a member of the Order. So that is her backstory. We didn't really hear about it in the movie. My question to you guys:
had a hard time getting through it too.
Yeah, they did.
Wow. My question to you guys is: what physical item from 90s pop culture would you choose to guard? If she's guarding the Ninja temple. Would you choose to guard if guarding it also meant you got to use that item? So anything from 90s pop culture that you couldn't actually use, you can't say, "Oh, this idea of the bat symbol" or something. I mean, it has to be like it should be a physical item, like a car,
artifact,
like a weapon, a car, and something like that. So let's start with Drew.
I'd like the USS Defiant from Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
Nice.
Oh my god. Is that the big space station?
No, that's the spaceship that they use when they have to leave the space station.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like
I've never seen Deep Space Nine.
Shuttlecraft.
It was a ship designed to fight the Borg.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
And it's only like it's small enough. I think you could probably control it one person. So
yeah,
with enough automation.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet.
Dang, that's a good one.
So let's go to Celeste next.
I would want the penguins from the Batman
3, 2, 1.
movie.
Well, you only get one.
But they are a cohesive unit.
They are a cohesive unit.
Wait, from 3, 2, 1 Penguins or
no,
From
from Batman.
Batman Returns.
3, 2, 1 Penguins is 2000s.
Oh, from Batman Returns, the ones
Batman
with
Returns.
the fireworks on their back.
Not
Batman
just the
Returns came
penguins.
out in the 90s.
Yeah, it did.
It's not. It's the sequel to 89 Batman. I haven't seen either of those.
Wait, I'm still trying to
Again, you're
understand.
a
You want the
born-to-pride
penguins
child.
from Batman Returns? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure. Okay,
Okay.
that's
Everybody got that? Good. When will the princess
They're
be
actually
married?
real penguins. That's cool.
Yeah.
That is cool. Okay, but I maintain you can only get one bar. You're their unit, fine. You get them all.
They are a
You
unit.
can guard the penguins. I'm not sure what fiendish schemes you're going to use them for, Celeste, but all
I was
right.
about to say maybe Penguin's Lair, and then you get all the
I
penguins in it.
just want penguins.
Oh,
they're
you
cute.
just want fun penguin. Okay, that's fair.
All the
I want to
penguins.
be Mr. Popper, but that wasn't in the 90s.
No, that was like the early aughts that came out.
Yeah.
Nathan, what ought you to guard in the 90s?
Oh man, there's so many good ones to pick from. It's hard to come up with one specific one. You know what? I'm going to take a page from Drew's book here, and I'm going to go with the Enterprise E.
Is that the next
Barely
generation one?
90s. That's
It
the
was
one from the movies.
97. 97.
Yeah.
Oh.
Starting with First Contact.
Oh,
I was gonna
okay.
say, so that's not the Kelsey Grammer one.
No,
Okay.
he's not talking about the D, even though I think the D looks prettier.
It is prettier, but that started in the 80s.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Fine.
Because that ship is big and it's mean.
2 Star Trek ships. Ashley, are you also going to choose a Star Trek ship?
No,
Okay.
because I'm a bigger Star Wars fan
Ah.
than Star Trek. But technically, this movie did come out in '99. Honestly, I would want Anakin Skywalker's pod racer
Oh,
from episode 1.
that'd be cool.
Episode 1, only because I have such nostalgic just for the episode 1 pod racer game.
Yeah,
and that's one of the few good scenes in that abomination of a movie.
My producer Jimmy from NASA would agree.
Oh
so I think if I could use it, I would want to guard that, because
Okay.
that seems like, hey, if a 12-year-old could figure out how to pilot one of those things, I would hope that I would eventually figure it out, because that thing would be super fun.
Assuming you have force sensitivity.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows?
Now this is trivial
Yeah.
questioning.
Drew, do you doubt her force sensitivity?
No, I'm just saying I don't know one
I was
way or
going
the
to say
other.
the sass is strong with this
Oh
one.
my
But
God.
does
That-
that give me
that will
force
take care of it.
You
That
have
will
a
take
lot
care
of
of it.
competition in this call. I'm just saying.
Oh,
Paul, that leaves you. What IM would you pick from the 90s?
Well, I'm such an 80s kid at heart. I want to pick the DeLorean from back.
Well, yeah, of course.
Oh.
That's what I picked too. But
Since
You
That's
can't.
why I
That's
did-
80s.
since this movie came out in 1990, I'm gonna go with Back to the Future 3 and
That was
pick-
89.
And
no,
pick-
wasn't it was 90
No, it
or
was
91?
90. It was the late
Was it?
90s.
Yeah.
It was the early 90s.
And
Uh-huh.
it was 1990 because I looked it up, and I'm gonna, and I'm not gonna pick the car that runs on gas, and who knows how you're gonna get plutonium in that thing. But I'm
True.
gonna pick.
Garbage. It runs on garbage.
I'm gonna pick the train.
Oh,
Nice.
that runs on
The-
Steve.
wait,
that they
the-
got retrofitted.
The
Yeah,
the
that-
time traveling
The
train.
retro-
or the-
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
nice.
That's good.
nice.
That's a good one.
awesome. Well, very, very good, guys. Great,
Yeah.
great job.
Great trivia, Francisco.
Oh, thank you, Paul.
And now that we've all had some trivial fun, let's find out what memories you, our rad rewinders, had about Mighty Morphin,
Power Rangers!
the movie.
James Felix posted a meme about realizing Ivan Ooze was the same actor as the Reverend in Hot Fuzz.
Oh, wow. Michael Adams says, loved it, even though the CGI of the Zords was off.
More on that in a minute.
Oh, come on, guys. Jeez. David Gardner said, the best way to be kissed by the girl. Be sad that you got frog.
There ain't nothing wrong with a frog. That's all I'm saying.
I'm a frog.
Alex Ortiz says, the suites were dope. We finally got clean and polished suits for the big screen. Fight sequences were good as well. The Stone Guardians were really scary, and it was fun to see the creative ways of killing them.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that would have made the movie perfect would have been the original red, black, and yellow Ranger.
Yeah.
I agree. I understand why they left, but still kind of hurts not having them in there.
Yeah. Matthew Cosby said, I have so much nostalgia for that movie. I remember them all skydiving at the beginning.
Yeah. And Drake Tungsten says, I was thinking Weird Al did a song for this movie, but that was just Pokemon, right? He didn't do one for this one too, right?
That's correct.
I think one of you posted that he didn't, or he did.
I posted that he didn't.
That was
just a
Transformers,
Pokemon.
the movie.
He did that
Yeah.
too.
He did do that.
But
yes.
he did put a song in for Pokemon the movie.
Oh, nice.
It was Pokemon, which was him
Ah.
reciting all the names of the Pokemon to polka.
Oh,
cool.
gosh.
Pokemon,
Okay.
got it.
Nice. Well, thank you all for sharing your memories. And But now it's time to get into things we didn't like about Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie. So let's spin up our
Worst 3.
worst three things. And we're going to start with Ashley. What thing did you not like? What's one thing you didn't like about this film?
Okay. So I know someone talked about the suits and how it gave them like a polished look. There were things that this movie did that was trying to distinguish from the television series to kind of bring it up to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, sometimes for me, like it felt like they were trying to a little too hard. And I didn't like how the costumes looked, that like vinily look to them. I didn't like how really
Wait, the
how
Power Ranger? Which costumes?
the Power Ranger costumes.
Okay.
I did not. The helmets looked clean and crisp,
Yeah.
but I did not like the pleather.
Oh, I
They
didn't
looked
notice.
like I didn't like the look of that. And
It-
honestly, like
Wait,
even
are you talking about their ninja uniforms or
No,
like
not the
the
nin-
she's
no,
talking
the
about-
ninjas look good. Yeah.
No,
She's
I
talking
liked.
about the PVC.
I'm talking about the
uniforms that were
PVC plastic
Oh,
costumes
yeah, 'cause
that they were
look like
wearing
the
in the
toys.
it looked terrible.
Which-
And honestly, I understand that they were trying to distinguish from like the spandex that they wore on the
Just
show.
say, would you
Mhm.
prefer spandex?
Yes, I actually the spandex to
Oh.
me looks a lot cleaner, and the leather left something to be desired, and the just bringing everything to the next level, like how Kimberly had like the thunder whip, and how Aisha's helmet had like the high beams, and all this stuff that they were trying to like distinguish and make it look better. It
Yeah.
felt like it detracted, and even trying to like give like Goldar a different look in the pig. Like I felt
okay,
Goldar's
we're not
costume
talking-
looked
Goldar.
so much better
Oh.
in the original television series.
I agree.
He looked very rubbery and
He did. Plastic.
and
in this one,
plasticky
yeah.
and just the things that they did to try to bring it to the next level, like practical effects aside, the things that they did to bring it to the next level
Mhm.
were things that detracted from my experience. And I felt that way even as an 8-year-old. I'm like, I miss their spandex. And I guess the thing that really bothered me was even though they got like new powers and they had new animals, their outfits were exactly the same. The only thing that changed were the coins. I'm like, they shouldn't have dinosaur helmets. They're different now, dang it.
Yeah, right.
Well, you
Yeah,
know
they
what,
never
Ashley?
changed it.
It's not spandex. There. People in the chat wanted me to say it.
It's
Well,
not spandex.
Whatever, but so I'm curious, Ashley, and anyone else maybe that these costumes rubbed them the wrong way. I was just thinking about it and
Chafed.
thinking back, it's almost like they tried adding all this like almost like SWAT armor or like all this like extra padding to the
Why
costumes.
is this a problem?
Because I mean, it's like they were trying to walk this line of like making them look muscular and bulky, but it ended up just looking like they were in just very bulky. Not. I just felt like they didn't look good the way they did. I almost would have. Here's my Francisco Fabulous fan.
Right, before as you're introducing that, I'm just gonna rep the people that didn't even notice. Go ahead.
I almost feel like it would have been cool if they did more like, I don't know, accessories or something. Like one of them wore a cool leather jacket. Maybe another one had a cool sash.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. This is starting to sound like almost like the Ninja Turtles coming out of our shells and the terrible costumes that they wore. So
One of them should have a trench coat.
do not
Another
do
should have
not
a
put,
No.
put terrible costumes on top
No.
of them.
Oh my
just-
gosh.
I
Am I
just
going
need
to
to
have to
know.
play a rant master cue for people from
I
the
just
power
need to
trip?
know
You don't
how they were
need-
doing all of this like flipping and stuff in those suits.
They
Those-
slowed the footage down and just
Yeah,
did
they
it
did.
slower.
The stunt doubles, like they were
used
talking.
high-speed cameras.
Yeah, they
thought it
did.
was
And
cool.
we watched the behind the scenes, and the stunt double said it was very difficult for them to move. The new costumes were
yeah,
very
yeah.
constrictive.
Yeah.
Unlike the costumes from the television
Mhm,
series,
mhm.
they had to exaggerate their movements. And what Drew was saying about the camera is they had to film everything and then speed it up because they were never able really to do it in real time.
I got. Here is what I would have liked to have seen.
Uh-oh.
I would. Oh, me. You might agree with me, Paul.
Doubtful.
We'll see.
Francisco,
After that
do you
last
need a
one.
rant master? I can
No,
play a rant
I don't think he
master.
does.
Not yet.
Let's
You know
hear
what?
it.
He's not
No,
in rant mode yet.
Hold on. I need to get someone on a call. Hold on. Ring ring.
Hello?
Hey, Brian.
Yeah.
Brian Singer. Oh, good. I'm so glad I could get through to you. All right,
You
hopefully,
misdialed. It's supposed to be Brian Spicer. Do you
No,
know
no.
him, Brian Singer?
No, he's the guy that replaced me. I was supposed to direct the Power Rangers movie, but this other Brian showed up there before me and took my spot.
Jeez, I hate when that happens. Brian's getting confused for each other. But Brian Singer, this is my question to you. I have this idea, and what maybe this you would have done this if you were to direct Power Rangers. Would you have?
I don't know if I have time for this. Okay, let's hear it. Go.
Would you have taken the same type of costuming you did for the 2000 X-Men and do that type of costuming, but maybe make it look a little brighter for Power Rangers?
No, I would go darker.
Get out of here, Brian. I'm done talking to you. Hang up. Click.
Why do you talk to him?
That's a good question.
That's so weird.
Stop taking your calls.
I'm surprised he
I
took
mean,
it.
That is actually
Drew
a better
knows this.
question.
He came on the Monster Island Film Vault to talk about this movie. We got interrupted by Rito Rivolto.
Yeah, that was
Rita's
interesting.
brother.
Yes.
That was
The
interesting.
skeleton guy. He was something else.
Yeah, well, I do the voice for him on Power Rangers, the audio drama. So
Okay.
Nice. We used
Anyway,
to be
You bonehead, you.
yeah, snarky bonehead. Yeah.
you're calling me a bonehead now? Jeez.
No,
Yes.
I'm calling Nate a bonehead.
Yes, I'm the snarky bonehead. Yes.
Well, why don't you tell us what you were snarky about with this this viewing of the movie, Nathan?
Oh man. Well, I wrote down a few that we could discuss, but I want to talk about Fred the Power Kenny because that kid is
Fred.
pointless.
Oh, is that the one whose dad? He's like, Dad,
Yeah.
don't go over the
You
cliff.
could take that kid's whole subplot out, and you wouldn't lose a thing. You know what?
Yeah.
How about they?
No,
you know what they could have did? They could have cut out Fred and then put in all the bits with Dulcia and Thanos and put those back in. And
You
would have
lost.
interesting movie.
You would have lost the
Pointless.
kid-splaining to his dad, teaching kids how to tell their dads about oh, listen up, Dad. This is how the pros do it.
Oh
You'd also
my goodness.
knock Bulk and Skull back to only 5 minutes of relevancy in this film.
I mean, what they were in like 2 scenes.
Yeah, pretty
and I
much.
mean,
Pretty much.
honestly, this kid. Way to steal my tragic maker.
Oh no!
Fred.
Wait.
Ahead, but,
Fred the Power Kenny is your tragic maker?
Yes.
I have a
Oh.
question for the fans of the show. Did that actor ever come back as
No.
a Power Ranger?
No.
He never did. I mean, we did get a kid that was a Power Ranger.
if
You don't
in
talk
later
about
iterations.
Turbo.
If he
No,
had
we don't
shown
talk
up
about
in-
Turbo.
If he had shown up in Turbo, I know we don't talk about it, but if he had, I would have accepted that far better than the kid we actually got.
No, it
Probably.
would have been more
Probably.
believable because he had a connection to
Yeah,
them. But
exactly.
Yeah.
No, wait. I thought
Except
this
this-
movie was non-canon.
Oh, we'll get to
It
that in a minute,
is,
Paul.
which is
Okay.
a problem.
We will
It's
get to that in a
confusing.
minute, Paul. Give
All right.
give it time.
All right.
All right, but so Frank the kid you didn't like.
No,
Okay.
Fred.
Does it really matter at this point?
Yes.
Celeste, what is
I feel
something
sorry for
you
that
didn't
kid
like
actor.
about this film?
Just call him
So-
Kenny.
You can't, Kenny.
I was about to say, does that mean that he's gonna die all the time?
Exactly.
No, it just means
in the
he likes
kaiju
turtles.
fandom, that's what we call all of the annoying kid characters in kaiju
All right,
movies.
Celeste, what makes you die inside about this movie? Go.
Oh, so
So
much.
dark.
So much. It just. So it's not my tragic maker. So
No,
I
not your tragic maker.
Not
Just
my
something you
tragic
don't
maker.
like.
Okay. So one of the things that annoyed me was the line about the Brady Bunch, and then all
Oh.
the off the wall things like that just didn't make sense. Like if
Yes.
he had been encapsulated under a building.
Yeah.
for
How
all
would he
these
know
years,
about the Black
he
Plague
doesn't
and all
get
those other
cable.
things?
Like, how did this happen?
Because he
That's a fair
obviously
Know
point, I
about the
guess.
plague.
he obviously
You
is
want
is
me
a
to no
pow-
prize this?
You want
Sorry,
to
what?
No prize?
No prize it? Explain it or rationalize it?
How
He
would
had, he had long enough time to read through a history book before he went and met Zordon.
No,
I have a better no prize. I think he was actually aware of what was going on in the
Yes.
outside world while he was
even though
trapped
he
in
was
his purple
imprisoned
egg.
in that egg
Yes,
underground.
because he's
He had
powerfully
alien-
magic. Yes.
Okay, yeah, he had
But he
alien
was
the only
aware
thing
of
that
things that were
explains.
going on, but he's stuck in itty bitty living space and he can't do anything.
Yeah, he said he was down there for 6,000 years, but everything that he referenced was from the last like 15.
I
just said he was aware of what was going on.
Hang on. If he was only down there for 6,000 years and Rita was imprisoned in the dumpster 10,000 years ago,
would they have ever crossed paths or know about each other?
I'm just saying they never said when Rita did show up in this continuity.
Why would they imprison anybody in a dumpster? Why that wouldn't hold anybody?
It's not an actual, not what we think of as a dumpster, but that's what
descriptor.
they called it.
It's a descriptor for what she was containing.
I haven't seen it.
She was in a trash can.
Pretty much, it was a trash can.
Yeah, a trash can on the moon. Is that
it was
right?
a gold,
Yeah, it's on
it
the
was
moon.
a
It was on
the moon.
gold-plated trash can with a red ruby handle.
Well,
Because the
I'm
astronauts,
glad that we are
Yes,
cleaning
the
things
astronauts
up
found
in
it.
the moon, but it didn't help
Yeah.
this movie any.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Drew, what didn't help this movie for you?
Okay, so y'all know I am on an animation podcast.
Whoa,
So-
what?
Yeah, believe it or not. And I have seen my fair share of great animation, and I've seen my fair share of animation that's would not be kind to call it garbage, because that would be an insult to garbage.
Yes.
I'm thinking of a specific movie that we just reviewed back in September. But the CGI in this movie
You
is pretty
stole my
close.
tragic maker, Drew.
Dun,
Do you need
dun,
a
Wait,
rant
there was
about it?
CGI?
Yes.
Get in line, Nathan.
It was going to be a lot of people's. That's why I didn't put it as mine, but absolutely.
It is the thing. Reason it's not my tragic maker is I will admit they were being ambitious, trying to get as different kind of special effects in here. And honestly, outside of doing actual suitmation, which I wish they had,
Suitmation, that's
tokusatsu, whatever you want to call it.
No, I just couldn't remember the name.
Don't make me get technical.
I've heard it both ways.
He would know.
But outside of doing that, the CG, at least it was the first. This is the first movie that I think did it this in your face, and it shows because it's not done very well and it doesn't hold up.
Yeah,
So,
even
yeah,
for
I
the
just
time
wish-
being, I remember seeing it in theaters. The CGI is not good.
No.
Yeah, even as a kid, I knew it wasn't good, but it was still like, oh, that looks like it was on a Nintendo 64. Wait a minute, that console's not out yet.
It looked worse. It looked worse than it would have on a Nintendo 64.
Yeah.
And honestly, the fact that they made so many things in this movie look good with practical effects.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
And even like the Zord interiors looked so good. They looked good against the fake and terribleness of the CGI on the outside.
But here's the thing: as bad as the Zord CGI footage is, it's far worse on all the ooze effects.
Like Ivan when he takes over his what is it called? The ectomorphicons. Yeah, when he takes over when he takes over the
Orbitron and Hornator or whatever.
Terrible. As bad as the Zords looked, he looked so much worse.
Oh my gosh, the Zords in this are ugly. I don't know what is anything on that thing.
Let me just put it this way: as bad as the Zords are, at least I can make out what they at least looked like they were in some form of polish. Like they were close to being done, but maybe not quite finished. None of the ooze effects looked like it was finished. It all looked like it was still the temporary, rendered fast so you can see what it looks like.
Yeah, like the test effect.
It was not
the test effect.
It looked like it was the test effect. This was not. It did not look like it should have been the final render for the movie.
Yeah, so like
Beast Wars looked better than this.
I was gonna say, Scorpion Knock and Wasp in there were 10 times better than this.
They did. Say, and that was made on a television budget in Canada.
Yes, it was. The show Reboot looked better than the CGI.
Yeah,
well,
I would give you that.
Reboot was a better show in general, but
Also fair.
Paul, I'm just gonna non-segue to you. What's something you didn't like about this film?
I actually really like that segue. One of the bad things about this movie is that they made it for kids and not adults. There's too much kid humor, like Celeste was saying that she didn't like Ivan Ooze, like the terrible puns and everything. I get that. It takes you out of the movie. It's like all the cartoon sound effects that don't belong.
Yeah.
It just makes me, again, it goes back to, if you're not going to take this serious as a movie, then I'm not going to take this movie serious, and the movie is worse off for it. They could have made it for kids and adults, but instead they just focused on the kids. You know, with Fred and everything, I agree. Like, take him out. That might have been, but I understand you want him as a character so the kids have someone to relate to, so they can be in the movie. That's fine. I like having a
Never
short
needed that
round
in the
in there.
show.
He's right. We didn't need that in the show. We didn't need it in the movie.
Yeah.
Paul,
I'm not. I think the movie is worse off for it.
Paul, I don't think Dulcea was for kids.
No,
I don't know. As a
those
kid,
were
I
for the
sure
dads.
appreciated her.
She was for the dads.
Her costume may have been, but yes.
Let's see. You know what wasn't for the dads? My Tragic Maker, guys. That's what. Let's get to our Tragic Makers.
My.
So I did have two possible ones. One of them was what we already talked about, the CG. Yeah, it's just like so bad. But the one that's really stuck in my craw, and I have.
You need a rant master?
No, I maybe you guys can explain why this is. You guys are much more bigger Power Rangers fans. Why could they not bring back the Green Ranger? Why did they turn Tommy into the White Ranger? I want
Because
my
he became
Dragon
bad for
Sword.
good.
Not
I thought you
a
wanted
tiger.
the show.
Do you?
Too many people talking. Let's go one by one. Explain
Let's
it.
go. Wait. Let's go back to one question at a time. You threw in three things there.
All I can say,
If
Francisco.
somebody is going to answer this, it should be Nate because he is on the Power Ranger podcast.
All right.
He is.
All right. This better be good, Nathan. Go.
Well, you do know that Power Rangers is made using footage from Japanese superhero shows, right? Super Sentai.
I thought this was original footage.
This was
This is original footage,
Okay,
but in the show,
Yeah. Yes,
they
I did know
ran
that.
out of footage of the Green Ranger,
Mhm.
and they were moving on to another show that had different Rangers, including a White Ranger. They wanted to bring Tommy back because he was popular, so they made him the White Ranger because they ran out of Green Ranger footage. And Haim Saban was too cheap to just make new footage all the time with the Green Ranger.
Okay, yeah. You know how you do
let's
that? You
face
have
it,
the
we
transition, like it's perfect. He starts off green, then they have the whole ninjetti thing, they lose their powers, and now there's only a white one left. So there's no excuse for this. They could have transitioned to a white one.
Francisco,
They did.
Franciscan? My name's not
They
Franciscan
did.
or Roy or anything else.
Or Franco.
Francisco. Roy, shut up.
Francisco.
Roy, let me explain this. They did that in season 2.
They did.
Yes.
You just weren't around for it because you outgrew the show. You weren't
Yes.
part of their target
They did
demographic.
do this in season 2.
Okay. Oh, well,
Even-
good for season 2.
even-
That's not the movie, though.
But they were taking the
They already did it because that was the
But the-
current version that Tommy was. They're not going to
And
backtrack.
Francisco, this is a version of them transitioning from the season 2 powers to the season 3 powers.
Right.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
they had to base it on what was happening at the end of season 2 and the beginning of season 3.
Yeah.
And that's
All
why we had the Power Rangers in place.
Catch
We
up.
had Aisha, Rocky, and Adam instead of the original Rangers. They were
Because they
written
went
out.
to
They
the
went
Never-Ending
to
Peace
the
Conference.
UN.
I got it.
Yeah, they
Yes.
went to the UN conference
No,
because
it's just the
Junior
Never-Ending
UN.
Peace Conference.
yeah,
That's
the
it.
Never-Ending Peace Conference. Yeah. So had you watched the show, it wouldn't have been a surprise for you, but you were outside of that, so it didn't make sense to you.
So let me see
That's
if
not
I
a good enough thing to make your tragic maker.
let
mistake.
me let me
So
see if I
Francisco?
understand. I just want to make sure. I legitimately want to make sure if I understand.
Francisco, were you
Yes.
upset when you watched Batman '89 and it didn't star Adam West as Batman?
I didn't really care for Adam West as Batman, so no.
He was Batman in the TV show. How come he's not Batman in the movie?
That's a great point, Paul. Let's go back and remake that.
Okay,
No,
Francisco, I will say that when we get to my tragic maker, I will be kind of boosting your point.
Okay. But I do want to make sure I understand from everyone because there's a lot there. So season 1, that's the main one I watched. Whatever 60 episodes of it was.
Yes.
There's a Green Ranger, Tommy. Tommy's the Green Ranger. He has the Dragon Sword.
Yep.
Then you're saying he goes in. I guess he's still Green Ranger in season 2, but halfway through season 2, he
No.
transitions to the White Ranger.
It's about 15 episodes in. He lost his powers early on in season 2.
Yeah,
Because
and then
they
he was
ran out of
gone-
Green Ranger footage.
And then
from
Tommy was
Japan.
gone for like 10 episodes, and they started hinting that there may be a new Ranger coming up, and then there's
Right.
this whole episode called I think it's a 2-part
White
episode
Light.
called White Light, in
Yep.
which they are built. You find out there is a White Ranger coming, and it's revealed at the end of part 1, I believe, that it's Tommy.
This is a lot of minutia I don't need. So
You asked.
when did this movie come out
After
season 2.
Seasons 2 and 3.
20 episodes
between 2
after
and
the
3.
White Ranger was introduced.
Okay, so there. Okay, then I guess you know what? I will give you this. Geek Devotions, who's in the chat. Yes, my Tragic Maker is invalid, but no, it's not invalid. The Dragon Zord is way better than any Tiger Zord. I'll say that. Ha! You can't invalidate
You're
that.
not wrong, Francisco. You are
we
not
all
wrong.
agree
We're
with
not
you
disagreeing. We're not disagreeing with
Okay,
you.
We're
good.
not disagreeing.
I win. I think I win. I think I win the show. Thank you, guys.
You
Yeah, you just said you all agree with me. I win.
You should
I win.
talk to Dallas. He rode the Dragon Sword to Monster Island once. He had a good time.
That's awesome. All right, so I'm done with my Tragic Maker. Let's go to Paul's. What's your Tragic Maker, Paul?
A massive surge of evil energy is overloading our sensors. Ay, 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 ay.
It's already been said, the graphics. I mean,
Yeah.
even at the beginning, the logo is pixelated.
It
I mean,
was?
what
I don't think
the
I
heck?
noticed that.
It was.
If you watch
Oh,
this in
wow.
HD, it is
didn't.
pixelated.
I thought that
Oh,
was just because I watched it on YouTube.
no.
No, that was rendered in 480i. I am convinced.
It definitely
less
looked
than
like
that.
it. It looked
Yeah.
better when it blew up, though.
It's still.
So better destroyed than together.
Yeah, clearly, and it did set the tone for the rest of the movie.
Yes, I'll agree
Yeah.
with that.
Okay, so that was your Tragic Maker, Paul. Drew, what did you hate most about this film?
The fact that the movie.
Do you need a rant master?
You know what? Sure, go right ahead.
Grandmaster activated.
Okay. This movie is assuming that you have watched at least somewhat of the previous 2 seasons of Power Rangers because it explains nothing to you.
Or you can roll with it like Francisco did.
I would accept this if it had the decency to remain in continuity with the show.
Aha!
And yet it does not.
They had to make an entire other version of this story in the show to show how they got their ninjetti powers. And with Dudley Do-Right, pretty much. Dudley Do-Right
The
ninja.
power of
Don't
ninja.
forget Rito.
I
And
hate
Ninja.
ninjas
Rito, yes.
so much.
As Tenga warriors instead of Tengu warriors.
Yep.
And just lost my spot. And because it requires you, it doesn't. You can't even assume that Jason, Trini, and Zach have even been in this continuity. You don't even think there probably isn't even Thunder Zords, these season 2 Zords that they were using in the show at this time. Those are probably not even in this continuity. So any continuity you bring from the original show is completely invalid, which is great if you are just coming into it. But the thing is, it explained, the only explanation you get is that stupid paragraph at the beginning that the only people who can do that are Star Wars. They're the only people who can get away with that.
There. Drew, we talked about this. That was
I
there
know.
for the parents.
I don't
Okay,
care.
so what you're saying what you're saying is the continuity of this movie is as valid as Francisco's Tragic Maker.
Sounds like you're in a huge agreement right now.
I
But
am
yeah.
saying that there is no logistical reason other than we have to use the same suits that they could not have technically used the Green Ranger suit, which in my opinion fits the Zero, which of course it fits the Zero Ranger, the original Mighty Morphin Power Ranger aesthetics better because it was designed for that one, not not taking from the White Ranger from the other series that looks like, they didn't even bother to try and use those suits until, well, we won't talk about Megaforce, but
we don't talk about Megaforce either.
Turbo, Megaforce, all of it's off the table, apparently.
We don't talk about a lot of them.
There's a lot of things. But yeah,
If you want to talk about the 1982 Megaforce, that's okay.
Falls under Bruno.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of talking for stuff we don't talk about.
I'm just saying that as a person, as a child, this confused me. That the fact that there were 2 different stories that were telling the same
does sound
thing.
confusing. Yeah.
Why would I? Because here's the thing: I did not not until my rewatch of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers that I started on last year did I actually watch Ninja Quest the 2 episodes that this movie 3 episodes. I'm
3
sorry.
episodes, yeah.
Sorry, 3
5.
episodes.
What?
No, it was 3.
It's 3.
To my knowledge, there's only been one 5-episode series, and that was Green with Evil.
Green with Evil, yeah.
I enjoyed that.
Is that where Tommy's introduced?
Yes.
Yep.
But
good.
I didn't watch that thing until before because, in all honesty, I thought this movie did a pretty. Actually, I think this movie does a better job of explaining where the ninjetti powers came from.
And Dulcia
But-
is so much better than Ninjord.
Ninjord? That goes without
yeah,
saying.
all the dads agree with you about
Yeah.
that.
Oh my gosh.
Eye candy.
I will
I
say
think
what I
it was-
have seen of his Sentai counterpart, I do prefer that to Ninjor.
Anyone is
Ninja
better than
Man?
Ninjord.
Yes, I do prefer Ninja Man to Ninjor.
Oh my gosh.
How
right.
can you hate Ninja?
Easily.
I don't know what you
Easily.
guys are talking about.
I
checked
don't
out
like
5 minutes
Dudley
ago.
Do-Right.
Same.
Nathan, I don't like Dudley Do-Right in his
Well,
own cartoon. Why would
the
I like
last-
him in this thing?
So let's check back in because I want to hear what your tragic maker is,
You already heard
please.
mine.
So my tragic maker is the movie.
No, you can't cheat like that.
It was terrible. I was bored.
Wow.
The entire
Slow
thing.
and boring.
The entire
Wow.
entire movie.
You just broke Dallas's heart, I'm sure.
Yeah.
it was not enjoyable. It might have been more enjoyable had he been watching it with me, because
Mhm.
then I would have had somebody who legitimately had a read his comment. I would have had someone who like had some stake in the movie, who understood stuff. But
Steak.
I legitimately was like falling asleep through most of the movie.
Wow.
So can I ask a question of you, Francisco? Because that was our situation.
Yeah.
He watched it with me, and I'm like, so I wonder if that changed it a little bit for you.
Yes, as I tried to ignore Dallas pulling a sword out of his chest.
Ouch.
Don't
Don't do it. You're supposed to let the medical staff do it.
Oh yeah, well,
You'll bleed out, Dallas. Don't do that. Leave
Celeste
the knife
has some
there.
training, I'm sure. But
Dallas is a tough boy. He can handle it.
I
He
think
survived
my-
the Monster Island by himself for months. So
I think it probably did influence that I got to watch it with you. And also I think there is this element of, Celeste, let me ask you this. Did you watch Power Rangers growing up at all or no?
No, I did not.
Okay, so I had some sort of basis and I
Okay,
enjoyed it.
You
So
had
that,
a
I think-
little. You had a little bit of hope.
Yeah, exactly. But okay, so just the movie.
She just had to take it at face value because she had
that
no.
is such a cheat. That's
No,
such a cheat.
it's
My Morphin
it's
disappointed Rangers the movie.
it's what do you call the slammer? It's slow and boring. It's hard to
Yeah.
recover from a movie like that.
That's fair.
Admittedly, if you're not enjoying a movie, that will make it very slow and boring, no matter
It's
how
true.
exciting it is for anyone else.
Yeah, that's true.
Nathan, so this may have not been slow and boring or the worst movie ever for you, but what did you hate most about it? Like you wish wasn't a part of this movie?
We've already talked about it. The CGI.
CG,
It is-
okay, CG.
The CGI wrecks it for me, especially when compared to those practical effects. The practical effects are still great.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, absolutely.
this CGI, good Lord, this was the Savior's Toy Story, people.
I know, and what a
The
stark contrast.
Savior's Toy Story. And this, and 2 years
Toy
after
Story
Jurassic Park.
Toy Story spent much more time rendering its things, and there's
And
not
also
as
they
much,
didn't try to make metal objects.
and there's
Yeah, they
not
didn't try
as
to make it
much,
look real
and-
realistic,
and there's
yeah.
not as much CG in Jurassic Park. And I would say the CG in this would look better had they also made CG buildings and not tried to put CG models
in-
onto an
Right,
actual
now,
miniature
I
set.
will-
I disagree.
I will
It would
say
look like a
one
reboot.
nice thing about the CGI that I will admit is surprisingly ambitious, even for this era, and that is the reflection of the Scorpatron in the car windshield. That was really ambitious because
Yes, it was.
I can't think of. I don't know if anyone else had the guts to try something like that.
You gonna get those bots, Francisco?
There's bots. Oh,
Yes, there's lots of bots.
Great.
Being raided by the
Edna
bots.
Oh
bot.
my gosh.
Holy moly!
Okay,
I feel like
thank
this
you.
Edna mode's not your fault.
Block user on YouTube.
Edna mode.
Block user on YouTube.
More like bot mode.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
Who's
Someone's
sending
released
you,
the bots.
Who's raiding you with the bots?
Try reloading the page. What? I have to reload.
I'm like, you don't need love. You're married.
Well,
Oh, because you're married, you don't need love. What?
No, he doesn't need love.
hold on, guys.
Wow.
Now that I reload the chat, I'm not seeing them. So, like, I
Okay.
know they're there. So, hold on. Another window.
Another bot bites the dust.
Another bot bites the
I had
Did
to
that
pause
flush
it.
him
Did
out?
someone
So I
just get
didn't see it. Thank you.
undigitized?
I was gonna say.
Did
Okay.
Are we in Tron now? Is that what happened? And someone
The
You didn't
grid.
make a
dematerialized?
mod.
I didn't. Bobo, you're here. Why are you helping? You're a mod.
I'm a mod, but I don't know how to do anything.
Oh my gosh.
I only know how
I'm
to
not
do
a
it on
mod,
Twitch.
so I can't say anything.
If everything you're doing is bad, I want you to know this.
Dallas is saying I think you got them. So
Oh,
Okay.
really? All right. Maybe. You did. Thank you, that Bobo, the savior of the podcast. Thank you, Bobo.
Thank you, Bobo.
You rock, Bobo. Thank you so
We can
much.
tell you're not sour tonight.
Wow.
that's our Bobo.
That's right. Let's clap for Bobo, guys. Bobo,
Good job, Bobo.
give it up for you. Awesome. Thank you for saving us on the YouTube side. Okay, so
Now
It
that CGI could have saved that.
Right.
movie.
Yeah, Bobo is no. We have 6 Rangers. He's our 7th Ranger.
He's our Alpha 5.
Alpha 5. Yes,
Yay,
exactly.
yay, yay, yay.
All right. So who?
I had my
So
soundboard, I
Nathan
could
was
play that.
finishing saying the CG. So we're gonna go back, and I'm going to kick it to Ashley for final word because I know CG was yours as well, right?
No, it wasn't.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay. All right. So good. We'll end with you for something else. All right, guys. Thank you, Nathan. CG was really not great, especially compared to like you're saying, Toy Story, Jurassic Park. But let's get to our final tragic maker of the night. Ashley, what did you hate most about Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie?
Oh, what I hated most about Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie. This was actually someone's dislike, but I hated the character of Fred so much. I hate characters that are just there to appeal to the audience. They're just there because they need to fill a spot. And because the movie was created for children, and this was already spoken to earlier, that, there has to be a kid. But what Drew said earlier is the show didn't need a kid because the Power Rangers themselves are teenagers.
Yeah,
They're
exactly.
characters that children look up to and aspire to be.
Exactly.
You don't need a kid who basically sprays water on a bunch of adults. And basically he's one of the reasons why his father gets infected in the first place, because he brings the ooze home.
Good job, kid.
Honestly, he doesn't add anything to the movie. He's just a token
Actually, he
kid.
does. He adds a question of why are the Power Rangers, or at least Tommy, hanging out with kids half his age?
That is definitely a
great question.
That is a great question for the end of the movie. Like, how do they?
When the kids are in the show, they do hang out around the Rangers a little too much.
Because they do hang out at Ernie's juice bar, and in the movie it was mentioned like one single time, but it was not a set that they built for the movie.
Yeah, it was. Ernie's
Ernie's
bar was there.
Yeah, it was mentioned.
More of a pavilion.
Yeah, it was more of a pavilion. It was really weird, and I didn't like it.
Oh, at the end when they play some Van Halen.
Yes,
it's there, and then when Fred's giving the speech to all the other kids, that is at that Ernie's pavilion also.
Hey, listen up, guys.
And Ernie's pavilion is there at the beginning.
Yeah, and I mean, yes, he was a disobedient child because he brought the ooze home, and then the children, they rioted because their parents were working for Ivan, and I'm like, and honestly, I didn't care for him. He wasn't a compelling character. Even as an 8-year-old, this kid was older than I was, and I'm like, this is lame. He's not doing anything. And then he gets everybody onto what were they on? What is that called?
Cocaine?
No, not the drugs. It was what is that called?
In this movie or something else?
No, it's the transportation that they were on. I can't remember.
The
monorail.
Yeah, when they were on the monorail. He's like, let's go on the monorail. I'm like, what were they hoping to accomplish by going on the monorail? We didn't know where it went.
Yeah.
And then if
it's
it wasn't,
amazing they know how to drive it.
Yeah, I'm like, where did this kid? Did he just assume I'm an awesome kid because our parents aren't doing anything? I'm gonna be like a Power Ranger and save the day. I'm like, kid, you could have been cut from this movie and we wouldn't have lost anything.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. And I don't know. He just felt like so unnecessary in this movie that it just infuriated me, because there's nothing more that I hate in movies than things that don't add to the plot, that are just contrivances.
Yeah.
And you could cut them out and the plot would not be affected whatsoever. So
But then all the parents would have leaped to their doom.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm joking. I'm joking. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. The kids held them back for a little while. They thought that they fixed them by spraying them with water, but it was only because Ivan went kablooey. And that's why the parents were released from the spell.
Do we want to talk about that?
Had nothing to do with them getting sprayed with water. Oh, we saved our parents by getting them wet.
I mean, really, if Fred wasn't there, they would just riot so the Power Rangers saved the parents in time.
Exactly.
I mean, so
and because this is a children's movie, it would have been convenient, and that is exactly what would have happened. So see, the kids don't need to be there.
And see, to add on this point, I feel like if it is a kids movie that centers on a property that kids are already into, you don't need an audience surrogate because kids already get it. I get having like the intro for parents that don't understand, but the kids, they're not gonna relate to the kid.
And he wasn't even a relatable kid. Like he was.
I
I mean, yes, he kind of wasn't every kid, but he wasn't relatable. I mean, I didn't.
Are you sure you really don't like him? Because you have a lot to say about him.
I really did not. No.
If I don't mean to, I'm not adding this as a defense, but injecting children into tokusatsu superhero franchises like this goes way back to like the 60s.
Well, maybe
they're usually just one-off characters and they're done.
They don't try to make them a central figure like this
Nathan,
movie did.
there is a reason we call them Kennies.
This is true.
So basically, you want to eject them out.
Yeah. So if he was on like one of the Zords, like hit the eject button and just send him off into space so he can get blown up.
What? Wait! Whoa!
The Power Rangers
Ashley,
would never do
did
that.
you just advocate child murder? What?
No,
just
to embrace
just
his
Fred
character.
murder. That's all.
I mean, if you call him Kenny's, and we're thinking, if I assume that he's like a Kenny from South Park.
There
Wow.
No,
so much hatred.
Yeah,
well, we aren't reviewing South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut. We're reviewing My Morphin Power Rangers.
So I
the movie,
can't blame Canada.
And we've all now entered our firing trajectories into the firing computer. Alice, do you have a firing solution for us?
Maybe.
Hold on.
Possibly.
Yes.
Get yourself.
Firing solution complete. Rating salvo at the ready on your
All right. Get your salvo authority ready, guys.
Lock on and fire! All right, we're taking care of business.
Time for the moment of truth. Do we rate My Morphin Power Rangers the movie a classic? We'd recommend anyone go see this, whether or not they've seen it before. A nostalgic. It's worth seeing if you remember it fondly, but if you've never seen it, don't waste your time. Or a tragic. It's not worth anyone's time. If you've never seen it before, definitely keep it that way. And if you have seen it before, don't sully any good memories you have of it with a rewatch. So let's begin with Ashley. What is your final rating for My Morphin Power Rangers, the movie?
I predicted a nostalgic, and nostalgic it shall stay.
All right. Even though Fred's in this.
Fred.
I mean, doesn't Fred, I give this an automatic
It's not
F.
a perfect movie.
No, it's not a perfect movie. And just because Fred starts with an F doesn't mean that the movie gets a score of an F.
All right.
I mean, honestly, if it's a nostalgic, then it's probably somewhere around like a C minus, D plus. It's not the best. It's not the worst, but technically it's still passing. And that's enough for me because I have this wonderful nostalgia from my 8-year-old self going to see this movie in theaters with my family, having the toys that we got for Christmas, and just honestly having a larger than life version of a television series that I loved as a kid.
Awesome.
Plus Ivan Ooze just makes this movie.
Yeah.
He makes up for Fred and the unnecessity that is him.
We'll agree to
We'll get
disagree
to you
on
in a
that one.
second, Paul. Nathan, what was your final rating for this film?
I predicted nostalgic, and it is nostalgic.
Nostalgic
It's
also.
not perfect, but I can't deny that I have a good time watching it, even with unnecessary Fred, because Ivan Ooze makes up for quite a bit, and I do enjoy the other characters, even though I don't think they really get all that much time to shine, because this is basically the Ivan Ooze movie featuring the Power Rangers.
You're right.
Yeah, but got a shout out to Jason David Frank, aka Tommy Oliver. He's he's a fellow Christian like all of us here, so Can't fault.
Speak for yourself. I'm kidding. Okay.
What kind of non-denomination do you go to?
The non-denominational.
Yeah, very non-denom. But
I go the one where they recognize the Green Ranger is better. That's the one.
But no, like I said,
wasn't better.
We never disagreed with you there.
Yeah,
might as well.
But like I said, I still have a good time watching this, but it's not great. And hot take, I think the best Power Rangers movie is the 2017 film.
Well, there we'll have to disagree.
Whoa.
Never seen it, never need to.
Celeste,
wow.
What's your final reign?
I'm gonna keep it as a nostalgic.
What?
Whoa.
This whole movie was your tragic maker, and it's nostalgic still?
I did not
put that sword back into Dallas. Come on.
I did not like it. But
Okay.
I also didn't grow up with it. I didn't watch it. And I don't generally like that style of movie or show from the 90s. I end up checking out. So for me, it's tragic, but I'm rating it as not nostalgic because if you watched it, if you liked it, then you'll probably still like it, even with all the extra things you now notice. If you've never seen it, run far away.
So
wait a minute. I'm very confused here. Also, didn't I listen to a past episode where there was an argument over whether or not you should rate it how you want it, not how other people want it?
Yeah,
so
goes with depending.
It depends on the person. Some people will rate it how they think other people will see it. Some people will rate it. I tend to try to do it for me, how I will rate it.
That's why everything's tragic.
What are you talking about?
And I personally go back
the
and
latest
forth.
episode of Francisco Hates Everything.
You should make a podcast called that. I'd listen to
Yeah, called the Retro Rewind podcast.
It already exists.
This isn't the Trolling Francisco podcast. So Celeste,
It's not.
It's not. But that's like the subtitle of this, right?
Not.
Keep it up, Roy.
Yeah, Roy. That's what this was.
Now I'm wondering. Some people in the chat are breaking this up. Is this now going to be on the bottom shelf? This might be bottom shelf material now. Suddenly,
maybe it should be.
I joined
Turbo is bottom shelf material.
Turbo is
We
something
don't
we
talk
don't talk
about
about.
Turbo.
No. It's terrible.
Drew, what's your final rating for this film?
My inner 12-year-old is going to kill me, but I'm still, while I did nominate this I did predict this would be nostalgic, I am keeping it as nostalgic because as much as I enjoy the film, it leaves a lot to be desired as a film. I think if you enjoy Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the show, you will love this film. If you grew up on Power Rangers, you will, except unless your name's Francisco, you will like this movie. So yeah, it's nostalgic.
All right, nostalgic for you. Paul, I forget, Paul, did you watch the Power Rangers at all growing up? I feel like you didn't really.
I saw a few episodes of the first season here and there. I tried to watch, I've maybe seen a total of 10 episodes total back in the day when it first aired.
Okay. But I shouldn't bring up the show. For this movie, what is your final rating?
My rating is going to be tragic.
Whoa!
I was wondering when that one would fall.
I figured that was my prediction for Paul.
I don't hate this movie as much as Rita Repulsa does.
She's giving me a headache.
Yes. I cannot
be nice
honestly,
to my sister.
I cannot recommend this to anybody. Like if you're gonna I'm thinking about watching it, I would say pass, go watch something else. Go watch Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, totally.
Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles have crossed over.
Yeah, in the TV show.
Yeah, in space.
And in the comics.
Yeah.
In space. All right, so that leaves me.
And Venus kept her mouth shut too.
Yeah, we don't talk about Next Mutation.
But you just
for me, it's Francisco's turn now. Thank you.
If you say so, Roy.
It's all you, Roy. You got it.
I actually had fun watching this film, and I did grow up really enjoying the first season of Power Rangers. So I would rate this nostalgic. It's not. There's elements I hate about it, but it's not to the point where. Now, if I was just totally out of it, if I was watching the whole movie And it was just like, oh my gosh, why is this happening? Why is this happening? Why is this happening? And I was actually invested in like the story and like what was happening and how they were going to do the things they were going to do. And Ivan Ooze was great. So I actually liked it for the most part. So it's certainly not a classic, but I would rate it nostalgic. So according to the Retro Rewind podcast, we rate Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie a disputed nostalgic film. We'd recommend
You're
if you
welcome.
enjoyed it growing up, it'd be worth your time today. But if you've never seen it, go watch Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1990.
Yes, sir.
That is a classic. I will
Honestly,
say
this is about how I expected this to turn out.
All right, that's
Me
fair.
too.
Well, now let's get back to our own time and see how that turns out. Good old 20XX.
20XX?
Comsat online. Receiving incoming transmission.
Feels good to be back, but we wouldn't have been able to head back to 1995 to begin with if it weren't for our amazing reflux capacitors, namely a bunch of you are here too. Jared Holzhauer, Deborah Powers, Brian Keane, Patrick. Oh, actually,
Edna
Mode.
What is that? The 12th one?
6.
And guest.
Jared Holzhauer, Deborah Powers, Patrick Hicks, Chris Cowan, Geek Devotions. Oh, you're here. The Untold Podcast, James Kennison, Drew of the Cellcast. Oh, you're here too. Ashley Ruiz. You're also here. Master Dewson, Kennethan, Redeemed
It's the Patreon
Otaku.
show.
That's our Baba. Josh Adams, D. Tungsten, Andy Lewis, Jeff, the Dapper Man Reviews, Tony from the Retro Days, Mr. Lost, Gerald Hafner, Rosie, in addition to 7 other awesome patrons as well. Thank you all so much for keeping the gigawatts coming. And if you want to help us keep flying for as low as $1 a month and get bonus content for your generosity, head over to retrorewindpodcast.com/support.
We need Dinosaur power now. Good thing we're sponsored by PaulJPowers.com. Bet you're wondering what those lyrics were. Now you know. Now, we also, while we're thanking people, we'd like to give a big power hug to our guests for coming on and supporting us with their thoughts about Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie. So let's go alphabetically and start with Ashley. Where can people find you online? Is there anything cool you got going on?
Nothing really going on except for a cross-country move from Colorado to Oregon. But
By the time you listen to this,
by
we'll
the
be
time
there.
you listen, I'll be in Oregon. But you can find me on the social medias, Twitter and Instagram at Ashley Ruiz 1186, where I post about all things pop culture and Christ culture.
Oh, cool. All right, moving on the alphabet, going to Celeste. How can people find you online? Is there anything cool you got going on?
I have a lot of cool things going on.
A lot.
But most of them you can find at our website at geekdevotions.com. If you want to listen to a book podcast, that'll link you to it. If you want to listen to a bad movie podcast, it'll link you to it. We even
What if I want to listen to the Retro Rewind podcast?
Well,
She said a bad movie podcast.
Wow.
Wait. Is
need
the
to know,
podcast
Vera.
about the movies bad, or is
The
about
podcast bad,
movies?
yeah.
you know, if you want to know the answer to that, you should go listen to the podcast.
Yeah. Good. But
So
please continue, Celeste. Sorry to interrupt.
we have a lot of things going on, but all of it can be found at geekdevotions.com.
Fantastic.
Thank you. And moving one letter up the alphabet, we go to Drew from the Cellcast. Thank you for joining us. And how can people find you online? Is there anything cool you got going on?
Well, like you said, you should go listen to the Cellcast podcast in your favorite podcast catcher, where we review animated movies and TV shows. We have no time, unlike requirement as this show does. But probably by the time this comes out, we'll be in the middle of Studio Ghibli month. We're talking about a bunch of Miyazaki movies, including certain one involving a cat Doctor Who type character. But anyway,
is a PaulJPowers.com going to be on one of those?
I don't know if it's going to work out now, but we'll see.
Stay tuned and find out. You should listen to the episode anyway.
While time doesn't affect what we review, it does affect when we have time to actually review it.
Good point. Yes.
Yes. But other than that, on that same feed, although it may be moving soon, I am analyzing Kingdom Hearts one little story bit at a time.
Nice.
Still in the middle of Kingdom Hearts Key, the stupid mobile game that I'm already tired of.
Oh my gosh!
Wow.
But that's chronologically where the story starts. So I'm there, and even though Celeste didn't bring it up, we are both on a audio drama called Gospel by Gaslight. I'll be starting on that episode. My episode comes up pretty soon.
Is this where they retell like Mark or John in a steampunk setting?
No.
Yes, Francisco.
Yes. Oh, I don't want to listen to that now. That's awesome. Okay, great.
I was where Mark and John had vampires in it, but sure.
Wait, what?
I was about to say, I think somebody's pants are on fire.
Thy pantaloons are ablaze.
Not to mention a giant Cthulhu monster. But anyway.
No,
that sounds interesting though.
I'm just gonna let all you awesome rewinders know. I have this ongoing thing with that I bring up about the name Gospel by Gaslight. I originally, Francisco, your dear captain, thought it was going to be a retelling of one of the Gospels in like a steampunk setting. But alas, is an original story where a character is spreading the gospel in a steampunk setting. So still cool, still interesting. It just wasn't what I was expecting. So,
you're expecting Godspell, except in another area.
Yeah, that's a good analogy, Paul. Yes.
Yeah.
Francisco's fabulous fan fiction.
But I didn't like
Godspell by Gaslight. I mean,
Yeah,
not
Godspell. You know
That
what
might be worse.
that means, Francisco? That's an area that hasn't been open yet. That's ripe for the taking.
You should try it.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Please
and let's move
continue,
on to
Drew.
Nate.
Oh, is Drew done? I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Gospel by Gaslight was the last one. I knew you were going to bring something up. That's why I saved it for last.
Nice. All right, Nate, thank you so much for joining us. Where can people find you online, and what cool things do you got going on?
What don't I have going on at this point? I am the host and curator of several podcasts, including the Monster Island Film Vault, a podcast about the I can't even do the shtick right now. A podcast seeking entertainment and enlightenment through tokusatsu. We talk about kaiju films, and I recently recorded an episode with Drew on this very movie that I'm hoping to get out to everybody soon. I am also the host of Henshin Men, which is about the appreciation of Japanese superheroes and their high-flying and high-kicking adventures.
Nice.
We are currently wrapping up our coverage of the original Kamen Rider from 1971. For those of you who are Power Ranger fans, if you remember Masked Rider, I'm sure you don't want to remember Masked Rider.
Yeah.
It's part
Ain't
of
that the
that
truth?
franchise.
Is that the same as Kamen Rider?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
Common, but yes.
it's pronounced common.
Show me, guys.
Don't make me.
Next
Next
Why
thing you gotta
open
tell
that
me is you
invitation?
call him Cayman Mask.
Yeah,
Cayman,
and
whatever.
Cayman mask.
Tuxedo
That's-
Cayman. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah, that Department of Redundancy Department. Anyway, and my co-host Michael would kill me if I didn't mention this. I am also the co-host of the Power Trip, a journey through the Power Rangers franchise. As I mentioned before, we did cover this movie back in spring, and we are currently coming close to the end of our Power Ranger coverage. We go through it season by season. Henshin Men is a couple episodes at a time. Our latest one is Dino Charge. Our next one will be the 2017 movie, and we are currently making our way through Ninja Steel. I already have opinions. And as I also mentioned, I am one of the cast members on Power Rangers, the audio drama. I'll voice Rita's brother. So, give that
Funniest
a
character
listen.
on the show, I will say.
Yeah. What?
I said the funniest character on the show, I will say.
Yeah, yes, he is.
Nice.
And I have fun with I do have fun with that. I'm also a writer, and if you want to check out my writings, go to nathanjsmarchand.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ashley, Celeste, Drew, and Nathan for being on the show once again. Thank you, Paul, for being another awesome Ranger / Retro Rewinder, and you all for listening, whether this is your first time listening to this show or you're part of our Rad Rewinder community. We're so thankful that you're a part of it here with us tonight.
Indeed. You're welcome. You could find me, pauljpowers.com, at pauljpowers.com.
And you can find me and on our Discord
As Roy.
as Francisco for show announcements or just to say hi. Join us there at retrorewindpodcast.com/Discord.
This podcast is a proud member of Culture Box, a curated collection of podcasts, videos, and articles that will provide you a balanced meal of content. You will find culture celebrated for its past and future, satirized for its extremes, explored in study, and created anew in story. Point your web browser to culturebox.media.
And as Zordon just said, we are now part of the Culture Box Media Network. I don't know, some floating voice out there.
Mention that he almost died in this movie.
Yeah. We'll find all the shows unpacking truth through story, comedy, and geekery at culturebox.media. Oh, where is it? Darn it. Edit that out.
Okay, I'll edit that out. That's not my fault.
Okay.
Edna mode. All right, guys, let's get back to the command center.
Yeah, with that, Captain, we are back. Hopefully, Zordon will be okay by the time we get there.
Indeed. Thank you, EXO, and thank you all for listening. We pray you are more joyful today than when you first hit play. But like a Pokemon, we gotta catch you all for Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, our next episode of the Retro Rewind podcast, as we start Wintermas.
Retro Rewind mission complete. Proceed to nav point Omega and return to base.
The world is very lucky to have you, and so am I. May the power protect you, always.
Thanks, Zordon. But we have another job to get to. We got to review Firefly.
That's
Good luck,
right.
Power Rangers.
Ship like this, be with you to the day you die.
Retro.
Because it's a death trap.
The pod of rewind.
Pretty cunning, don't you think?
They were robbed of time, young indeed, made them poor, burnt out on dullness, what was it all for? With Firefly now, what reviews will they find? The hero of time, Retro of Rewind.
We gotta go to the crappy town where I'm a hero.
I just
That's
realized that makes it sound like Indiana Jones, young Indiana Jones was dull.
Exactly, Drew.
Oh,
Well, welcome to another.
You're quickly running out of Firefly episodes.
Yes, welcome to another review of Firefly, where we're going episode by episode through the season on our lead up to covering the movie Serenity for our Christmas episode. Paul, what was the episode we covered today?
All right, this is episode 12, titled The Message. That was the second episode that was created, but not originally aired with the other episodes because the show got canceled. But it first aired in the UK in July 28th, 2003. All right, Captain, do you have a one-sentence synopsis of this episode?
Yes, an old army buddy of Mal and Zoe pretends to be dead to get them to get Mal and Zoe to ship him to his home. He's actually alive, was faking to be death because he stole some body parts in himself.
4 sentences, but
what is he talking about? That wasn't 4. That was all one breath.
That was a lot of
Wikipedia would have done a better
semicolons.
job than that.
Yeah, he William Faulknered that. Yeah,
He did.
All right, well, whatever, Paul.
Francisco, abuser of semicolons.
King of
Well, you know what?
Sentence.
And Tracy, the character in this episode, abused Zoe and Mal's friendship. So let's get into the things, but we're not talking about the things we didn't like about this.
Yes.
Let's talk about one thing we liked about this episode of Firefly. I'm going to start with Drew this time.
Okay.
And you've seen Firefly before, right, Drew?
I've seen 3 other episodes of Firefly.
Okay.
And I have watched Serenity.
Okay.
So I just have gotten behind on rewatching Firefly in its entirety.
You have no excuse.
No, really, I don't. I really have no excuse. But the one thing I did like about this was the fact that the jump scare about halfway through this when he was all of a sudden alive, because I literally thought, okay, yeah, they're going to have to dig him open, and there's going to be some, I don't know, ticking time bomb in the middle of him, and all of a sudden, oh, he's alive still. Oh,
Yeah.
that changes everything about what's going on here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
But yeah, I did not see that particular thing coming.
Oh,
so
okay, cool.
I really did appreciate that.
Nice.
Yeah.
I really thought it was going somewhere else.
Yeah.
That's very similar to mine. I wrote the story as a whole. There were a lot of twists and turns, and I enjoyed the journey. So
Okay.
yeah.
Nice. Do you feel like, Paul, the character, like seeing this new character Oh, here's a actually never mind. So
Yeah.
you like the journey of this episode. That was your
Yeah.
favorite thing about it.
Yeah.
Very cool. Ashley, what was your favorite thing about this episode?
Call it silly, but my favorite thing about this episode was Jane's hat.
Yes.
It was
Pretty
my
cunning, don't you think?
absolute favorite part
I do
about
love
the
that
hat. The
hat.
fact that he wore it and he wore it with pride because he loves his mom.
Yeah.
And just hearing him read that letter and just, it was so sweet that they're still in contact with one another.
Mhm.
And he loves his mama so much that he wore that hat. Even though other people didn't think it was great, it was my favorite part.
Yes.
You look like an idiot in that hat.
And
Whatever. Let's go to Nathan next. What's something you really liked?
Drew kind of beat me to it. I did enjoy the big twist in the middle there. Now, the funny thing is, I've seen Firefly before and the movie as well, but it's been a while since I've seen all of it in its entirety. So I actually didn't remember a lot of this episode.
Yeah.
So, but for something in me when I saw it, just said, and I don't know if it's just the writer in me or my genre savvy or whatever, but I'm like, that guy's not dead.
Oh, interesting. You
The
called
twist
it.
will be that guy's not dead, but maybe it's memories of the seeing this before coming back.
Yeah.
I was just like, but how are
Admittedly-
we gonna do that? Because they're working really hard to make this guy look dead.
Yeah.
Admittedly, I've watched a lot of Star Trek where they did have to get something out of a guy. So,
Oh yeah.
Fair.
so that's why.
Yeah.
I
Now,
assumed.
if they had done that, where there was something in there, but the thing is, I'm like, that's the obvious thing to do. This is Joss Whedon. It's Firefly. They're not going to go with the obvious thing of them smuggling stuff inside him, which ended up being true anyway.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you kind of got
Oh,
both.
with their
He was
expectations.
smuggling stuff,
'Cause
and he
this-
was still alive.
because to some degree, at some point, the most obvious thing does become the thing you don't think he's going to do. So that's the perfect time to do the obvious thing.
Hidden in plain sight, I suppose.
Just assume
inside
the
his
obvious
body.
and you have a pretty good chance of being right with John Whedon.
Or just expect the unexpected.
Oh.
I
So
don't know
you
how
guys
you
are just
can
covering all the
expect the
bases. I should say. What was that, Nathan?
I was just saying, I don't know how you can expect the unexpected, because if you expect it,
Then it's
if
not
you expect the
unexpected.
unexpected, it's expected.
Right.
It's an oxymoron and it doesn't
Right.
work.
This isn't a philosophy class.
It
So
is
last why don't you
a-
give us your favorite thing?
It's a paradox. And yes, that does mean there's two ducks somewhere.
I said Celeste.
Quack,
not
quack.
Drew.
I would believe there would be ducks on that ship.
There probably are ducks on that ship.
A lot of paradox.
I think that my favorite.
Some people
thing-
juggle geese.
Sorry, Celeste.
Sorry.
Wrong episode, Nate.
I know, but I had to throw it in there. Sorry.
Geese juggling. No. I think my favorite thing is I have a hard time with any favorite thing for Firefly because I love Firefly.
I
And
know.
I've said that before. But if for this particular episode, the line in the very beginning where Zoe goes, "Little one, the whole point is to not let him know where you are." And then Mal comes through, "I'm over here."
Yeah.
Of
Right
course,
here.
there are other thoughts to that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
there are other
just-
schools of thought.
Other
Yeah.
schools of thought. It's just it's a really good example of the show as a whole. That type of humor and going back and forth.
Yeah.
Right.
And the
I
contrast between those two characters.
Yes.
Yeah. I forgot how good the dialogue is in this. How it's
Yes.
very snappy and witty, and it sounds like everybody sounds like a hick in this.
Yeah.
Because that's the whole point. This is
Right.
this is a space western in almost the most literal of senses. Basically, you could make this the Wild West and just say the war was the Civil War, and you would have
Yeah.
very
Yeah, yeah.
similar stories. I think,
Absolutely.
which is the beauty of this show.
Yeah.
I especially like that line at the beginning. Why would you order a dead guy?
Did we get anything fun?
No, I thought he was like, "Oh, that's creepy" or something, and it's like, and then it's like, "Oh, then there's something in the tank or something." Where at the beginning there, Wash is great.
Oh, it's grotesque. Oh, and there's
Yeah.
something in a jar.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is fun.
What was her line about the cow?
Oh, the Chinese line?
No,
Which is-
no. She was saying something like, "Oh, it's just you, me, and something about Bessie."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
yeah,
then she
I
says something in Chinese, and I looked it up, and she says, in Chinese said, "Why don't you tell the cow how pretty his eyes are?"
Oh, okay.
That's awesome.
I thought they generally use the Chinese for profanity that they can't say in
Generally,
English.
yes. Half the time, yeah. But
If you go and look up, there used to be a website that you could go and go by episode and scene as to when they said Chinese, and it would tell you what it meant.
Oh, that's cool.
And there's
it's filthy.
some very interesting things.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's in like the Firefly wiki or something.
Probably.
yeah.
I don't think Wiki was around when I was
True.
originally watching Firefly and doing this. But
Sorry, the Firefly GeoCities page.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, God only knows where
They
I
shelled
actually
out the big
went.
bucks to register their own domain. They took it seriously,
Whoa,
guys.
Yeah, super serial. Anyway, something I liked about this episode. Oh, hey, it's my turn. I really like the sort of like, I don't know if it'd be an ethical conundrum or moral conundrum, but Tracy says to Mal, "You shot me. You actually shot me, or killed me." I forget if he says killed me or shot me, but
shot me.
But then Mal says, "No, I think he says I didn't kill you, kid. I just held the bullet for a while." And there's this element of like if Tracy hadn't done the things he did, Mal wouldn't have been the one that shot him. Yeah, was that bullet that he had? I mean, there's sort of an idea of predestination and free will all in that. So I thought that was interesting.
But it also harkened back to
You
earlier,
murdered me. Thank you, Geek Devotions. That's what it was.
earlier in the show when Mal said everybody has a bullet with their name on it. The goal is just to, or the trick is just to die of old age before it finds you.
Yeah.
So it was kind of referencing that, which was a nice little loop.
Yeah, it seeded it for sure. Absolutely.
It was a nice callback for sure.
That's like saying everyone's going to die of cancer unless you die before it.
Although personally, my favorite callback in it, if you're talking about circles, was the thing that the old saying that the kid brought up in the message, and then
if you can't
at the end.
Yeah,
if you can't run, crawl. If you can't crawl, and he originally just says, "Well, you know the rest," and then we get the rest later, which is have someone carry you, and then that
might be a Geek Devotions on that one.
What? Look, like already made?
Oh yeah, like that was one of the first ones we did.
Oh, nice, very cool.
Go check it out, folks.
No, don't. Our
Don't
sound
check
is
it out,
improved.
folks.
Our sound has improved so much.
Well,
since then.
just ADR it, Celeste. Come on, because you have time. You have time for
We're-
that, right?
Celeste, we're all
remaster or a director's
podcasters. We're all podcasters here. We all hate hearing our early episodes.
Well, we also were using a camera called the Noisy Cricket, which was a Sony Handycam.
Oh wow!
So
I was thinking
From
Men in Black.
Yeah.
That's probably where the name came from.
I mean, that might be where the reference is from, but it was like this Sony Handycam and then a mic hooked up to a phone. So,
Well, that sounds like it's a terrible thing. Speaking of terrible things, let's talk about what we didn't like about this episode of Firefly. I'm going to start with Nathan this time.
I feel like I'm just repeating myself from the main part of the episode. Although, in its defense, it's aged better than Power Rangers the movie. I forgot how dated the CGI looked. It looks a little bit computer gamey.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
it's a little disappointing. Admittedly, like I said, the other thing we talked about tonight was worse. But
Admittedly, this episode came out about 10 years before really TV budget CG looked good.
Yeah.
And Francisco, don't worry.
I think at this point, Star Trek was, or did they move to CGI for at this point?
Voyager was CGI by this point, and Enterprise
DS9 I know later was.
DS9 only had some of it. Its ships were CGI, but the station was
still a model.
Model all the way until the last episode.
Right.
Don't worry,
and
Francisco,
Babylon 5,
it's only a model.
Yeah, it's only a model. Yeah. But Babylon 5 was entirely CGI at this point, and it was a big pioneer for that for television.
And it looks worse than this.
It does.
And if the special effects are the worst thing about this episode, then that's pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
I will admit, I had a hard time coming up with things I didn't like about this because it's Firefly. And you have to nitpick.
Now I know Ashley though isn't like a huge Firefly fan, so I'm curious what something you didn't like about this, because maybe you didn't have to nitpick as much.
I really didn't have to nitpick. It was the character of Tracy was just absolutely deplorable.
I liked him.
No,
I thought it was.
No, I did not like him.
Why not? Yeah.
Okay,
tell us why.
I didn't like him because the fact that he called his two former friends saps, that he knew that they would be the ones to come and take care of it, and the fact that in his ploy to get them to have his end result, he played them for suckers, and he knew that they would come.
He's not a great guy, but that's his intelligence
He
level.
says, I acknowledge my mistakes.
Yeah,
I acknowledge my mistakes and like I survive a war, but I couldn't live in the real world. And it's like, well, it ended up being true. Everything you said in that little diatribe of yours proved to be true. And they did end up having to do it because you're a terrible human being, and you realized how good these people were at the very last minute, and realized like you're in too deep, and you made the final mistake, and now you paid for it.
Well,
you
that's
dug
how-
your own grave, dude.
That's how they wrote it.
Wow.
I know, and it was
But you
done
didn't like
well because you're not supposed to really like him.
Okay, then.
And I didn't. I absolutely abhorred him, and this whole episode
All
was
right,
a little hard
so
to
your
watch.
dislike is a
No,
like.
hold on. If that was the point, if you are not supposed to like this guy, and that's the point of the story, why are you counting it against it?
Well, because
I hate Ivan Ooze because he's evil.
But if it makes it hard to watch just because this character is grating on you, then I can see that.
Yeah, and he did grate on me because I mean, you're rooting for all of the main characters, and to see them be treated so badly by someone they did regard as a friend.
Yeah.
Betrayal is a huge thing for me, and to see it play to see it play out in pop culture, and I mean it was done well. I will say like it was done well, but I don't like any storylines that involve betrayal and people manipulating other people.
You're sensitive
and
to the
it was done well, but it turned me off of this episode. So it was really hard for me to watch
All right,
because
thank you for explaining that. That makes sense.
because this character was just
okay,
icky.
That's fair.
He left a bad taste in my mouth.
Well, you're not supposed to taste the characters.
Oh my gosh.
It's not like I went around licking it.
This isn't Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
No, it's not. There were no snozberries. I was sad.
Drew, what's something you didn't like about this episode?
So, admittedly, I've watched so little Firefly that I just had to double check character names. So forgive me for that.
No worries.
But when I first plugged this in, having only a vague remembrance of who all the characters were, the character that was the least memorable for me from the beginning, I wasn't sure if that was him. No, River's brother, Simon.
Yeah.
I saw him. I thought, is that River's brother? I can't tell. In that first scene there with the alien cow thing, I thought, is that River's brother? I don't know who this character is.
Wait.
You for a little.
Wait, you thought the cow thing was River's brother? What?
No, I did not think the cow. Well, more anyway. I didn't like his character in this because I realized what I've liked about his character in the episodes I have seen, because they're still early on. He's still very protective of River in those first couple episodes I saw, and I'm sure he's protective all the way through the series. But in this episode, River had almost nothing to do in this episode except lay on the casket.
I was going to say except lie on dead people, but yeah.
But I just heard. I think I don't like you in this scene. Surely you're someone who's just hitting on Kaylee, and you'll be gone before the end of this, before the credits show up. And no, he's throughout the whole thing. It's like this guy is okay. This guy is River's brother. Okay, why does he not look like the character in the opening sequence? Because he really doesn't.
He does to me.
It's almost like he had a. It's like he had a haircut, or he got tall and had a growth spurt.
Well, he's not the 7-year-old played by
Zac Efron.
Zac Efron, yeah.
He changed clothes.
Oh, and he's on the planet, not a ship. So
I'm just saying I did, when he showed up, I thought
It was
surely
confusing.
this guy wasn't
We
coming.
get
I
it,
was already
Drew.
confused about the character.
We get it, Drew. Every white guy looks the same. We understand.
Yes. In fact, I'm having such a hard time keeping all you people separate, including myself.
Oh my gosh.
No, I
Celeste,
just didn't recognize him, and I really thought surely this guy's going to leave any minute now. Nope.
He's
Of
there for
course,
the long
and don't
haul.
call me Shirley.
Oh my gosh.
And of course, I didn't remember him from Serenity. So
Surely, I mean,
enough.
Celeste, what was the thing you didn't like? You're a tragic maker for this episode.
I always have a hard time with these for Firefly because I love Firefly in its entirety.
Sure, yeah.
So I guess maybe I could have used more Inara in this episode because I do love
She was
her.
very limited, yeah.
And I feel like that she could have added a lot more. Like had she been on the bridge when the guy got shot, because she does have a sisterly relationship with Kaylee. I was expecting her to be there to be like, "Hey, it's okay. Let's go over here. Let's talk."
yeah.
She's done that before in episodes. So the fact that she wasn't more present.
That's a good point. And on the whole, the show does a good job of covering all the characters on each episode, at least in some. But yeah, this I could agree with that.
Yeah.
I only remember one line of hers. Is this a warning of some kind? That's it. All right, that's totally fair. For me, the thing I didn't care for in this episode was okay, wow, guys. I can't take a second here to get my thoughts to
slow and boring.
Oh my gosh.
Take any longer, it'll be an Edna mode.
I honestly don't know if there was something I disliked about that. I mean, everything you guys mentioned.
Do you
I have a
borrow
couple
one of
extra.
mine? I wrote down a couple.
Oh
Yeah, I
my
have a
gosh.
few.
Yeah.
I know actually the thing I dislike about this one I have it now. I thoroughly enjoy the episodes where like trash, or train
say
job.
this episode was trash.
Let me finish my statement. The other episodes entitled trash, entitled the train job, entitled area where there's a heist there. Everyone has a job. Everyone's doing a role to get the thing done. I like those episodes so much. This is more sort of like, I loved hearing about seeing more of Zoe and Mal's backstory, but I felt like that sort of is not I wish they would have burnt, since they had so few episodes, I wish they wanted to burnt a possible thrilling episode on one of these types of backstory episodes.
They didn't know they were going to get canceled.
I'm sure they did at this point. I think they did. Yes.
No,
not when they shot
if they knew they were going to get canceled, they wouldn't have filmed it to save money.
Yeah.
Whatever, guys. Don't give me your logic. Okay, but that's the thing that I didn't like is I would have preferred
It's like
more.
your catchphrase for the show in general.
Paul, what do you like about this episode?
What I didn't like is, even though she's not perfect, I like the character of Kaylee. Kaylee's
Yeah.
her name, right?
Yeah, Kaylee. Yes,
But I don't like her. Basically, they're settling her with the Dr. Simon. Like at the end of the episode, they're holding hands during the funeral thing. I don't like seeing her with somebody she's frustrated with.
I feel
or,
like you've mentioned
can't-
this before in past episodes.
Well, maybe it's a theme that they're continuing that I don't like. No, all right, nobody's perfect. You're always going to be frustrated with the person you like at some point.
Gonna say,
but it's sad to see that, like her struggle through that.
I
And,
mean,
I feel that she deserves better. But that's
but Paul, come on, you should know you get frustrated with Francisco all the time.
Yeah,
never.
He never
Never
calls
at
me
all.
back.
And I get frustrated with Michael all the time. So I understand.
Strangely enough,
And Drew probably gets frustrated with Jacob.
But I was just about to say, strangely enough, I rarely get frustrated with Jacob.
Oh,
I look, just because we hold hands at funerals.
I also know Jacob's listening.
And Celeste, I mean, it basically stabbed poor Dallas in the heart today. So
Yeah,
That
she's
was
probably a little
completely
frustrated.
unrelated.
Oh,
He had
Well,
it
because
coming.
Dallas is as durable as this guy after he got shot. Good Lord, he was
my
running around
gosh.
like the bullet bullet wound barely.
All right, fine. You don't like that dislike. How about the way they treated Book in this episode? It was like, oh, you can't carry the casket. We got this. Fine. He's always in the scenes, like on the side, like kind of in the way almost. I felt like they didn't know what to do with him.
He had a pretty good ending in this. I
Yeah,
thought.
He
the
stood
one who
up to the
told those
guys,
off.
fine, but throughout the whole show, it seemed like he was just kind of in the way, like either whether it was on the bridge or just that's the way it felt.
I got the sense that he was the one figuring out what to do by then. Like he's putting the pieces together. This guy hasn't contacted the feds. He has the sense that
almost anybody could figure that out.
Nope, I couldn't have.
Yeah, but if you know Book's backstory, you understand why he knows what he knows.
I've never read any of the comics about him or anything. I just sort of have hints of what it is.
What is it called? The Shepherd's Tale?
That sounds
Read
right.
that. That explains it.
Okay.
Book is a
Shepherd's
scary
Throat.
man. Let me tell you. He
All right,
needed
guys.
to find Jesus because he was a scary man.
Based on this episode of Firefly, would you continue watching it? Let's go real quick. Paul, yes or no?
I thought the story with the old military guy was endearing, so I would.
So let's try this again. Yes or no? If you would continue watching,
I would.
Okay.
That was a positive affirmation. Yes.
Yeah, it's okay. Celeste,
Yes.
Nathan.
Not just yes, heck yes.
Let's try this again. Nathan, no, okay.
Yes.
Drew.
Yes, I would.
Ashley.
Sure.
I don't know if that means Ashley likes the show or not.
No, let's
it
not
sounds
this
like she
again.
has resigned herself
Yeah, right, exactly.
to finishing watching the show.
I've actually seen it from start to finish, but I did it backwards. I started with Serenity and then discovered that there was a show, and I watched it all the way through.
Well, that's how the
it
last
happened to
episode
me.
was.
Yeah, that happened to me, and it's fine.
That's right. Yeah.
Thank you, Fox, for not doing a good job of advertising this show.
It's just fine.
That's Back to the Future 3.
It's a Western. What do you want?
For me, this one, and there's another. This one's the episode Safe. This episode and Objects in Space, the very last episode, are the three episodes I dislike the most. This one's just sort of a meh episode for me. Objects in Space is my least favorite, and then Safe I like things about. It's like the top of those three. So I think by this point, if I'd watched the whole series, I'd be invested enough to continue. But if I just caught this one on TV, I doubt I probably would keep watching. But according to the Retro Rewind podcast, it sounds like we would continue. We would suggest continuing to watch Firefly if you only watch this one. But thank you all so much for listening to our reviews of these episodes. And thank you so much, Nathan, Celeste, Drew, Ashley, Paul, and for myself. We all bid you good night and stay shiny. Or not good night, just stay shiny.
And good night.
Oh,
do you have
Paul
anything to add, Kaylee?
Don't let the space bugs bite.
All right, guys. So we're at 2 hours already. So here's what I'm thinking, because some of you said you wanted to be done by now. So if you have to leave, that's fine. If you feel like you can stay for, let's figure out one spiritual speculation thing to discuss, and we'll discuss that and then call it. But if anyone needs to go get a drink of water, get up, stretch your legs, I'm going to do that. Feel free.
Ditto.
Okay.
Yeah, I do need to go get something else to drink.
And if you need to go, just say, bye, I'm leaving, and we'll talk to you later. Bye, Celeste.
Bye, Celeste.
Thanks for being a part of this.
Have a good evening, Celeste.
Bye.
Bye.
Don't let the space bugs bite.
Oh
I
my
will do my
gosh.
best. Was it monkeys? Was it terrifying space monkeys?
No, it was
Bobo
Kung Fu
says he's
Warriors.
going to stretch someone else's legs.
Whose
That sounds a
legs are
little
you
frightening.
stretching, Bobo?
Stop whining.
And then there were two.
There are two. You and me, Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Three.
Oh my god.
Now we're having fun.
Let's see. Bobo's still here. I think Yeah, it's interesting. After thank everyone who's still here. It seemed like after we were done with Power Rangers, views just like dropped down. Like, oh, okay. Well, I'm glad people were interested in our review of Power Rangers.
Because everyone hates Firefly.
Apparently everyone hates Firefly. That sounds about right. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Apparently, we're not enough to bring the show. You know what I mean?
Bring what show?
They're not here for us. They're here for the Power Rangers.
Yeah. It's Morphin time.
Rangers! It's Morphin time!
Exactly.
I was gonna say, what do I have any? I have this.
What is that again? I feel like
that's their Dragon Zord.
Oh yes, of course. Yes.
Yeah, and
well,
this
sorry,
is
it's been forever, guys.
Mad that Tommy left him at the bottom of the ocean for 30 years.
Yep.
Wow.
Because technically, it's still active. It never was. The only deactivated because the Green Ranger powers dissipated.
Yeah, and this is another cue from Power Trip.
No, it is Morphin time.
Nice. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk real quick, guys. What let's see. I think Drew, you had a couple. What were your spiritual speculations?
I had two. One that was based on it was the scene where Adam was not upset that he was a frog, and my idea was why didn't I write any of this down? That's really what I'd like to ask.
I want to know if Jacob pulled that line with his girlfriend.
He didn't.
Oh,
it's just a sad thing, but
because Jacob's not a frog, but Jeremiah.
No,
was.
but my joke on the film vault was that if saying I'm a frog despondently gets me kissed by Dulcie, I'm going to say it every day.
Yeah,
gotcha.
And somebody forgot to do that, but that's beside the point. But no, my idea was, everyone else is getting all these cool animal things, and he's just a frog, and so he's despondent about he maybe not. I can't remember the verse, but it's in Corinthians, and it's talking about how not every piece of the body is eye or an ear, because then what would do the other things. So mine is he's still part of the team, even though he's a frog, because he actually does have abilities the others don't. And I would have to look that up and there.
No.
But since Ashley already talked bad about Fred, I'll leave my idea with him out.
First Corinthians chapter 12.
Yeah, and
thank you, Paul.
It was the one with Fred though was the idea is like don't, and it's from Timothy, because I think it's something Paul said to Timothy about not disparaging yourself because you're young, or not letting anyone disparage you because of your youth.
Oh, okay.
Don't look down on
we could skip that.
You're young.
We could skip that one since Ashley doesn't like Fred.
Paul, did you say you had one?
Well, it was more of just a comment of when what's her name? Xena says
Dulcia.
Strength is inside you.
Oh
yeah.
So it reminded me like the Holy Spirit is inside us. And
okay.
Yeah.
Nathan, did you say you had one?
Yeah, I had one because we talked about on the Power Trip and on the Film Vault episode about the hero's journey, the classic Joseph Campbellian thing, and why it has deep resonance, because it very much it mirrors our own lives. We start off as a child, and then we learn and we grow and we develop, and we have to be mentored along the way in order to learn all the things that we need to. And it also goes back to some comments from, say, G.K. Chesterton, and I think C.S. Lewis has something similar about how stories like that are important because children need to know that not only are dragons real, but they can be defeated. As Lewis talked about that, was like, let children know about noble knights so that they can basically emulate those same virtues. And as silly and goofy as this movie is, it does actually follow the hero's journey.
Okay. All right. So talking about that, what was yours, Ashley?
Oh, mine was it was more of a thought than anything. Thinking about how these Power Rangers, they're just ordinary teenagers who put on armor
with attitude.
Yes. No, they were extraordinary in this, but they're teenagers with attitude in the original. But they're putting on armor. They're fighting for good. It really was making me think about us putting on the full armor of God every single day, and how do we show that we're fighting for him? It really made me think of like Ephesians 6:11 and putting on the full armor of God. And they fight for good by taking out monsters. What does it look like for us putting on the full armor of God, and how do we show what we're fighting
We're not
for?
supposed to show. That opening paragraph said they were supposed to be kept a secret.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but I need to know if the armor of God is 40 pounds of PVC.
Wow.
Or
there's
is it
definitely no
spandex?
helmets. They can see.
Yeah,
they can
is the
see.
armor of God PVC or spandex?
Spandex. It's more.
Yeah,
breathable.
because the in-universe explanation in the show is that the Morphin grid actually basically makes a skin-tight force field around them. That's why when they get hit, there are sparks.
Gotcha.
It's Morphin time.
The one I had was talking about how there is this sort of idea that's sort of in this of spirit animals, and talking about how is that comparing that to the Bible and what the Bible says about things like that.
Are you talking about demons?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
Yes.
I thought that too, but I didn't know where to take it from that.
Yeah, it's sort of like a thought. Yeah, I'm not quite sure, other than saying, "Hey, don't do that."
Yeah, well, and the spirit animals thing, the frog thing it's very Japanese, very Eastern, because they were borrowing from a Sentai that was steeped in things like yokai.
Oh, sure, and that makes sense. Paul, I'm going to let you pick which of those topics you just heard. Do you want to hear more?
I think, not to be biased or anything, but I think Drew's part about many body parts.
Yeah. I don't think we've really touched on that in a past one. Really,
and even though, oh my gosh, well, I'll save it.
Okay. But yeah, okay. Let's go ahead and talk about that one then. Were you here when he said his?
No.
Okay. Can you recap it, Drew? What was yours for?
You're
gonna share it here.
Well, you're gonna share it because you have to do your introduction and actually get this part set up.
Okay.
Don't put the cart before the horse.
Exactly. All right. Here we go. Welcome, Reflex Capacitors, to another spiritual speculation where we talk about the spiritual themes that the movies we cover on the podcast prompt us to think about. Tonight, we're going to be discussing the We're going to be speculating, spiritually speaking, on Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie. We have a limited amount of time, so we're only going to pick one thing to go with. And tonight, Drew got the lucky straw. So
happens sometimes.
Before we get into his speculation for us to discuss, let's go around real quick and say who we are, what our faith life was like growing up, and what we currently believe today. My name's Ty Francisco, apparently. My name's Francisco, and I was raised Presbyterian and currently a non-denominational Protestant Christian. Ashley?
My name is Ashley. I was raised Catholic, and I am currently a non-denominational Protestant Christian.
Drew?
Unlike these people who don't have the courage to actually claim a denomination.
Oh my gosh.
I started at a Southern Baptist church and I'm still in a Southern Baptist church.
Oh, so you got fire in your belly.
and I believe you sit at the back of the auditorium and you always eat the food on the grounds.
Wow. Nathan? Nate?
I grew up in the missionary church, but like everyone else apparently in this call, I am a non-denominational Protestant.
Oh, I'm
Christian.
still denominational.
What? No, you're not. And Paul?
Southern Baptist is a denomination.
So you claim, Paul.
I was pretty evil growing up, and I got captured in a giant metal egg for thousands of years, and then, I escaped, and some older looking group of people who claimed to be a lot younger than they were actually showed me the light, and now I follow Jesus.
Oh, wow. Was that before or after the crotch kick of doom into the comment?
No comment.
Take care of business.
Awesome, guys.
Still would love to know why that was under a
emergency.
I also found out from the actress herself, because I met her at a convention, what the original scripted line was, because that was not it.
Oh, wow. Really? Okay.
Yeah, they did a bunch of different takes with different lines, and that was what they decided to keep.
Wow.
All righty.
Which one is going to make the 8-year-old boys laugh the hardest?
I don't know. The scripted line might have been funnier.
Which was
Balls Out.
Oh wow! I guess it's gym time.
Wow. Well, no, it's speculation time. Drew,
Oh.
what should we talk about spiritually speaking from this movie?
So, about halfway through this movie, when the characters finally get their ninjetti powers, she's Dulcia's going around telling each of the Rangers, all these great things about the powers they get, and she gets to Adam, and Adam is upset because and he's upset because he's a frog and he thinks that's not worth anything. And she says, "Yes, a frog, the kind you kiss to get a handsome prince." And that got me to thinking how, yeah, sure, he's there with falcons and bears and cranes and wolves and all that other kind of stuff. And yeah, he is just a frog, but he holds, was it Scorpatron, I think, for a long period of time with his tongue. Because just because he doesn't have these fierce claws and stuff doesn't mean he's not has a part on the team. And it reminded me of 1 Corinthians chapter 12. For just as the body is one and has many members, and all the members of the body, though many, are one body, so it is with Christ. For in one spirit we were all baptized into one body, Jews, Greeks, or slaves, or free, and we all were made to drink of one spirit. For the body does not consist of one member, but of many. If the foot should say, because I am not a hand, I do not belong to the body, that would not make it any less a part of the body. And if the ear should say, because I am not an eye, I do not belong to the body, that would not make it any less part of the body. And it goes on like that. But
Sounds
basically,
like
you get what I'm saying.
Yes, it does. I do get what you're saying. And yes, Paul, it does sound like Voltron. Or Power Zords.
Yeah.
Or Megazords.
Megazords, not Power Zords.
I mean,
Megazords.
there is something to be said about how you have 5, often 6 people in their giant robots running around doing things, and they can do pretty effective things on their own, but they can't usually win the day until they all combine together.
Yeah.
And work as a
all
team.
these very different machines piloted by very different kids coming together into one thing.
Is that why? Is that the sort of deeper message the show and this movie is trying to say? Is that it's speaking to each one of us? Because I always wonder, like, why don't they just become the Megazord right away and just step on the monster when it's small or something like that? Why don't they just do that right away? Why do they go through all this process?
Well, because in the first episode, Zordon did say to not as one of his rules was not to escalate it before. Let the enemy escalate it. Don't escalate it yourself.
But he does it. They escalate every time. So you think they've learned at some point?
It's the monster that grows.
But here's the thing.
So they can't make the Megazord till the monster grows.
I think, Francisco, it's to build momentum of the story. It's
I
to
get
make things harder and
All
harder.
right.
It doesn't make sense after when you have like a 300 episode show and it's the same story every episode.
Plus in the show, the Power Ranger show itself is married to using footage from another show that is following that same thought process.
Right.
So here's my, but if I am trying to give it more credence than it's probably deserves, but there's something to this element of like we do work together as a whole, but so often we're wanting to do our own thing. We don't want to listen to other people's ideas. And so this is almost like just like Israel had to be reminded over and over and over again as they fall away from God. God rescues them, they come back, and then they're like, "Thank you, God," and then they fall away, and He rescues them. It's like this ongoing cycle.
It's just a constant reminder when it comes to, well, how well does it go when you try to go your own way? Instead of
working together as a team.
Well,
instead of working together in a team and actually following as God ordained.
Right, and it should all.
I don't think that's.
No, that's
okay. No, wait.
Who is
soundboard
that?
is my. Sorry. That's my not the app soundboard, but the actual board itself is like flickering.
Oh, crazy!
Oh, fun.
Yeah. All right. I think it stopped, but okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was about ready to like, not today, Satan, not this stream. Anyway, no,
Not
but I
today,
was,
Lord Zed.
not today, Dark Spectre.
Not today, shocker.
Okay, I only watched the first season, guys, because you can't.
What was it? King
I went to another show.
What was not today, Lokar?
Have you guys seen? I thought this was really interesting. The going back to what you were saying, Drew. Have you guys seen the actual original movie poster? It has this byline for it. It says, "Each has a power, each has a purpose, and together they will face their fiercest enemy." And that plot sounds amazing. If they were to focus on each person and their unique abilities and what they bring and how they can impact and then come together and work as a team using all their resources. That sounds more
jeez.
Sorry.
That's okay.
You're making Lokar angry.
Yeah. But anyway, but it's going back to what Drew said.
Say.
Drew said about 1 Corinthians. Each part of the body does really well. I mean, as a belly button, if you're a belly button, then you do your part, whatever. But each part is amazingly well, but it's even more amazing when we combine and work together.
I would like to note that it's really interesting that one of the main tropes of Power Rangers is that it takes an entire team to beat, generally speaking, one monster.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we got monsters operating on their own, and then it takes usually between 3 and 6 superheroes.
I'm gonna mute you, Paul, while you work
sorry.
on that. Between 3 and 6 superheroes?
Yeah.
It takes between 3 to 6 superheroes, generally speaking, to beat one monster.
It takes a whole team. And if you want to use another trope, another series, like think of even like the Planeteers and Captain America and Captain
Planet.
And Captain Planet.
Captain America and the Planeteers.
Yeah, Captain America and the Planeteers. You can tell I'm tired. But Captain Planet and how is all of their powers combined to create this mighty force to take out the people who are polluting and doing bad things to the planet. But that's always the trope. That's always the trope, right? That it always takes many to come together as one to overcome whatever the adversity is. And if you think in your life, in your church, like you have all these unique talents that everyone has, and you think Francisco has unique talents, Paul has unique talents, but they come together to have a podcast and their guests add even more to it.
Totally.
It's always this amalgamation of people coming together to make one thing tremendously good. And everyone has the unique
let's do it.
Everyone has their unique contributions, even within the church. Everyone has their things that they add. But it becomes so much more beautiful when everyone is in harmony together.
Absolutely.
And actually, this is just fresh in my mind because we just recorded on this movie for the Power Trip, but the 2017 movie, I think, really illustrates that. When you get to the end, and all of these, these 5 teenagers who didn't know each other at the start of this movie, and basically have to come together as a team, and they've gone from not knowing each other at points being antagonistic, and then they're trying to, in their individual robots, trying to hold off the monster who's pushing them into a fiery pit, and they're saying things to each other like, hold on to each other, no one dies alone, and things like that. And it's at that moment when, as they're saying that, and they get thrown into the pit, that all of their robots combine together into the Megazord, and they go to town on the monster.
Okay. Well, that's cool.
It's an act of love that makes it possible.
So much like how the Power Rangers, there's only certain Rangers, and they're the only ones that make the Megazord. I don't know why I keep saying Power Zord. The Megazord. Would you guys say that people that are not Christians are not part of the body? And if that's the case,
yes.
And there's a new Christian, is it like Jesus is growing another finger or something? Or how do you quantify that?
Think of it more like this way.
Okay.
In the movie, they originally only had 5 of the Zords making up the Megazord in this because Tommy was off saving the kids on the monorail.
Yes, right.
On the B plot. Yes. But he had to come in and attach for them to be powered up even more. So that's in my mind.
Help, they could fly.
Comes on and attaches. Is kind of maybe how it goes.
Okay.
Yeah, and then later in Power Rangers, they have modular Zords where they can swap out parts.
Let's talk about that. The better.
It gets a little weird later.
We
Okay.
don't need no Gigazords here.
So would you guys agree that non-Christians aren't part of the body, or am I
Correct.
mistaken about that?
No.
I would agree with that. But
Okay,
people are
okay.
shaking their heads, so maybe they disagree. I don't know.
someone-
They're saying no, meaning yes. I don't know.
We're
No
saying
meaning
that,
yes.
We're saying that.
What about that verse that says, "Let your no mean no and your yes mean yes"?
Yeah.
How dare you? How dare you, Paul?
Oh my god.
Oh, I'm trying to figure this out. Sorry.
Paul
no,
J.
no, I
Power
could ju-
Rangers over here.
Yeah.
I could just see this easily evolving into free will versus predestination.
Oh,
of fate,
nice.
and we don't need to
Okay.
bring Calvinism in here, so
Yes. Or do
we
we?
don't? Or is it, yeah, I
That's
mean,
the
maybe we're
Calvin ball.
predestined.
Here we
to
go.
it.
No, it's
No,
too late.
not tonight.
It's
Not tonight.
not tonight. We don't
All
have
right.
enough time for that conversation.
That's totally fair.
And I don't think most of us have the energy.
No, not when we have to drive 12 plus hours tomorrow.
I
Oh
feel
my
your
gosh.
pain.
Well, I am going on a bit of a road trip myself this weekend, so I
Okay.
understand.
And
I
I,
hope
just
it
got
goes
back
well.
from a road trip, so
And I hope
Yeah.
it went well.
I'm going to Chicago to go to the Chicago Film Festival to see Shin Ultraman.
fun.
So
oh, no,
Nice.
you
Yeah.
lucky dog, you.
yeah, that'll be about 3 hours, but it'll be worth it.
I
Very
bet it
cool.
will be. I still haven't
I'm
even got
one
the
of
Ultraman in my
maybe
viewing, but-
I'll be one of maybe I don't know a couple hundred people in this country who's seen it. So
Wow.
I'll be getting all of the podcast listens by doing that.
Nice.
They need
Well,
to
I
hurry
thi-
up and do a wide release of that. That's all I'm saying.
I
Yeah.
think that's is a good place to end. Shin Ultraman, awesome. I need to see Shin Ultraman versus Shin Godzilla personally, but okay.
That's coming.
Yeah,
Okay, it better.
maybe.
Anyway,
Along with Shin Kamen Rider at the same time.
any
Nice.
last thoughts about the Body of Christ?
Yes.
compared-
Add,
okay.
add Shin Power Rangers to build the big body.
Shin Super Sentai.
As long as we can all agree. Oh, actually, I'll end in this way. Thank you, Reflux the Pastors, for supporting this content. Really appreciate all of you, and for me, for Ashley, for Drew, for Nate, and for Paul. We all say that Voltron is definitely better than the Megazord, and we bid you shalom.
That means peace.
Look, just because I have Legos Voltron back there doesn't mean he's better than the Megazord.
Except he is.
Megazord wins.
What? No.
You know what?
Especially if it's the
Ultraman
original.
wins.
Especially if it's the original Megazord.
Yeah.
Whatever, guys.
No. Sorry, original Ultrazord.
Is that the one with the not the Brontosaurus?
Now
Titanus.
I will give credit where credit is due. They can all beat the vehicle Voltron.
yes. With all 30 parts. Anyway, thank you everyone for watching the stream. We're gonna go. Thank you guys, and until next time, here's your stream face.
Oh, forgot the stream face. Bye bye, guys. Have fun storming the castle.
You know what?
It would